It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Stacey Higginbotham's here. Aunt Pruitt, Jeff Jarvis. Lots to talk about. You win one, you lose one in court for Google. Netflix is winding down its DVD business. And Mr. Beast is suing over those horrible Mr. Beast burgers. All that and more coming up on This Week in Google.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 728, recorded Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. Stupid dove nests. This Week in Google is brought to you by Mylio. Mylio Photos is a smart and powerful system that lets you easily organize, edit, and manage years of important documents, photos, and videos in an offline library hosted on any device. And it's free. Visit mylio.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we cover the latest news from the Googleverse. Stacey Higginbotham is here. Stacey on IoT.com. Not Glenn Fleischman. Nope. She's not Glenn Fleischman, I can tell.
I know nothing about fonts.
She knows nothing about
and I have hair.
Flongs, and she has hair. There we go. Stacey on IoT.com at Giga Stacey. Thank you for being here, Stacey. We missed you last week. That's why Mike's lower third is in there. He filled in.
Yeah, I
Aunt Pruitt's also here, sitting next to me. It's good to see you.
You
community
too, sir.
Manager in our club, and of course, regular on our show.
Yep.
And to his left, ladies and gentlemen, the Tao Knight, Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic. Wow, your camera looks good. You actually skin tone today.
And by the way, I
look at that. Very clever.
Look at that.
Room Raider says 10 out of 10 for getting the book in. He's got the book over his right shoulder.
Only one, though. You should only have one.
Only one, not two. Leonard Tao, Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York.
Hello,
Jeff.
boss. You're wearing your Obama suit today.
And still a floating head.
My tan jacket. I'm not the president. I think a president should always
For
wear
you,
a
Ann,
navy.
I forgot.
Still got the floating head.
Wait a second.
No floating head. He's putting,
That's better. Yeah.
what is that, a shark skin? Did you get that from down the road? And
breaking it up some.
in the Pine Barrens?
Excellent.
Is that somebody found that on somebody's body in the Pine Barrens? What the hell?
It is a little big on you, Jeff.
Louis Garbanzo Bean Fittotori's communion suit there.
Can't win in this crowd.
Hey, I apologize for starting a little bit late because I was doing an unboxing, which you'll see in the club and on Hands on Technology, of the Galaxy Z Flip 5. Why they put the Z in there, I'll never know. This is their new folding phone.
Zlip.
And yeah, you could still see, but Stacey, you have the 4. You could still see the little crunch, the thing there, but that's not too bad.
Yeah,
I like the idea that you could do. It's so compact, and look how big this front screen is. That's kind of
That
cool.
is nice because the other one was like just tiny.
There was nothing
Get up
there.
a page,
nice.
a New York Times page on the big screen.
It doesn't have a browser. You can only do a few things in it.
Widget.
Look at all the spam calls. Did you see all that? Pinch this cover screen to see all your widgets. Oh, look at that.
That's pretty slick.
So there is a hack. I think you use Samsung's Good Lock app, so it's not really a hack, so that you can put any arbitrary app on this screen. But it comes with some basic widgets like a calendar, weather, a list of all the spam calls you've received over the last 12 days. Tap to allow permission to see the widget content.
And
Allow.
pretty smooth performance there, too, on that screen.
Yeah, it feels pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, look at
I don't know if
that.
it has a separate processor. I seem to remember that it does. There's a stopwatch, a timer. I haven't turned on the steps feature, but that'll be my steps. And then when you open it up, you get a regular, basically.
Call up like a New York Times page on that screen. Just want to see how the fold.
Oh, you don't even see the fold. You might feel it a little bit if you scroll over that. But if you're holding it in a normal angle, I don't think you really see the fold. But I'll pull up a screen just if I can find a browser. Jeez.
It's like I haven't downloaded my browsers yet.
Apparently not. There's
Chrome's right
Chrome.
there.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to Chrome. Let me talk to you a little bit about
Okay,
who
sorry.
and what Chrome is. It's balanced, enhanced, safe browsing.
Sure it is.
No, he wasn't.
NY Times. Oh, boy. I can never type on these.
NYT.com.
Oh, really?
Or NYT.
Does that work?
Just NYT.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Okay. Didn't know that. Come on.
Go to
The Guardian.
CNN.
Go to the Guardian.
Go to CNN.
Anyway, what you could see, I mean, you could see if I angle it
fine,
right, you could see but it's not annoying. And when I'm looking at it straight on, I don't really see it.
Yeah, I think.
How about you,
Here's my
Stacey? Do you
question
get
for you.
used to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your brain is real smart. It gets used to lots of things.
Yeah.
Does it have to adjust? Do they adjust around the bump at all in the
No.
software? Or
No. Although there are some programs, like I'll go to the camera, that are bump aware. So when you do this, you get the picture and the top part and the controls in the bottom part. And so this becomes like a little stand for your camera, that kind of thing. And I do believe if I flip around, I think I can use this. Can I?
Lies.
Lies, all lies. I have to unlock it here. Hold on.
your unlock doesn't seem to work very well. You keep
No, it does. This is new. I'm not yet
proficient. Your finger.
because it's actually
He's
got
an
a
aging dog learning new tricks.
Hey,
Wow.
hey, just because you're a young pup,
Wow.
no reason to diss your elders. Google is in the news.
Uh-oh. It's never a good thing, it seems.
Why would we talk about that on this show?
Again?
The judge has thrown out, I would say, the majority part of the complaint against Google that the state attorneys general put together. Last Friday, Judge Amit P. Mehta of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia dismissed 4 claims in the lawsuit and allowed the government lawyers to move forward with 3. The 4 claims he threw out were the claims that Google favored its own sites with its search results. He said,
Well, good.
in fact, he said,
It's business.
he said, that's stupid. Well, I'm paraphrasing. But they are going to get to go ahead. He said, okay, so Judge Mehta wrote, the trial was warranted to assess whether Google's exclusivity deals for web browsers and preloading its services on Android devices illegally helped the internet company to maintain a monopoly. You know, we've talked about it. They pay Apple about $15 billion a year to be the default search on iPhone. They make deals with everybody who puts, like Samsung, who puts Android on their device to make sure that Google is the default search. In fact, I think it's part of the Open Handset Alliance's deal. If you want the Google services, you've got to do that. But regarding the search, he said government had not demonstrated the requisite anti-competitive effect, end quote, to prove that Google broke the law in other ways, such as by boosting its own products and search results over those of specialized sites with Amazon and Yelp. Yelp was one of the chief complainers. Yelp lost.
Yelp has been whining for years.
Yeah. So this will be the first major tech monopoly trial since Microsoft in the 90s, according to the New York Times, and they ought to know, amid a renewed backlash over the power of the tech giants. FTC, as well as the state's attorney general, going after Google. But Google, I think you can categorize this as a victory, initial victory in this battle.
So what are the 3 charges that go ahead then? I'm confused.
The charge that they are it's anti-competitive for them to require companies to use Google search on their Android devices. Boosting its let's see. The trial was warranted to assess whether Google's exclusivity deals for web browsers and preloading services on Android devices. So, for instance, if
It's hilarious. We're back to the Microsoft case. It's web browsers again.
No. It's more
Why
than
wouldn't
that.
we go after? Okay, keep going.
So
Sorry.
Google has, as you know, Android is open source. So anybody, I can make Leo's phone, put Android on it. But what would be missing is the Google Play Store and Google services, underlying services that many apps use and require. Things like the Firebase, notification manager, things like that. So if I want to make you a fully functioning Android phone, I've got to make a deal with Google. And you remember Google's gotten in trouble with these deals in other ways. For instance, they used to say, well, you can't do a non-Google phone and a Google phone because that confuse people. So if you're going to sign a deal with us, all your phones have to be Google services phones. I don't think Google charges you money, but they have certain requirements. Like you have to have Chrome on there. You have to have Google Messages on there. You probably, I'm guessing, I'll have to look, you have to use Google Search as the default search, things like that. And that's what the trial we'll find out when the trial. But the big one, which was, I think, the one that Yelp, and remember they had this problem in Europe where the EU said, Google Shopping, these poor other shopping sites, they can't compete. And they did fine Google, I think, a lot of money, but not in the U.S., and I think that's the right answer. So that trial begins,
I think so too,
September 12th. The Times says it stands out as the most direct government attempt in years to confront one of the world's biggest tech companies about long-time business practices. The trial is expected to last almost 10 weeks and to scrutinize not only how Google conducts its business, but its relationships with other major companies, such as Apple
Where is it going to be held?
Samsung. It's in the Bay Area, I think. It's in the... No, I'm sorry. It's D.C.
DC, right?
It is the D.C. Circuit Court. So it'll be in D.C. That's a busy venue. It's going to be a little crowded in there in that venue.
Would you rather be on the Trump jury or the Google jury?
Yeah. Bill Baer, a former Justice Department antitrust official quoted in the Times, said the cases were as significant as the landmark litigation against Microsoft.
Which was ridiculous.
I think of victory, at least a 50% victory for Google already in this one.
Yeah.
This was filed in 2020. So
the folks like OnePlus, they don't have to rely on Google services. I thought they
don't have to, but they do, because you can't sell in the U.S. anyway. You can't sell an Android phone that doesn't have the Play Store.
I'm thinking
so there are a lot of
Huawei's and all of them that don't really
in
sell
China.
over
They
here.
don't because Google doesn't do business in China.
That's right.
So Huawei has to provide its own, Play Store and all that stuff.
And they seem to be doing just fine over there.
I think if you bought an Android phone,
if you're buying a Google phone, you want the Google services. I think it's an appropriate thing to require.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's right to say Google phone versus an Android phone.
Yeah, it's not a Google phone. Yes, exactly right.
Okay.
He misspoke. I would like to apologize for my client, Your Honor. He misspoke. He meant to say, I'm guilty as sin.
Actually, wash my mouth out with a mouse. Yes.
Actually, Twitter apparently getting a little bit of a fine. This just in. I'm sorry, did I say Twitter? I meant the company formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. Fined $350,000. Apparently, Jack Smith, the special prosecutor for the Justice Department, filed a warrant with Twitter back in mid-January saying, we want everything you've got on the real Donald Trump account, including all the tweets. It also said in the search warrant, it asked for a non-disclosure order, arguing that revealing the warrant to Trump would, because remember, this time he does not know he is even the subject of an investigation. He might suspect, but he does not. He hasn't received that letter yet. It would seriously jeopardize the ongoing investigation by giving him an opportunity to destroy evidence or otherwise change his behavior. No, that wasn't going to happen. Smith is leading, blah, blah, blah. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit rejected Twitter's objections to an order that prohibited the company from notifying anybody about the warrant. Oh, this is where free speech comes in.
Yes.
Musk said, I want to tell everybody, including DJT. Twitter did ultimately comply with the warrant, but
Twitter was also arguing that they needed time to fight that through, but they still had a warrant and a deadline that they missed.
And they missed it. So $350,000.
3 days.
Pay to fine.
So, by the way, if you haven't received your check from Elon for your revenue share with Twitter, that's why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the government's fault.
The only person getting paid is his lawyer, apparently.
Blame the Justice Department.
Well, I wouldn't bet on that, Ant.
Well, I mean,
Look,
he keeps filing these suits against people, and some lawyer is taking the retainer. Has to.
You saw his tweet last weekend that anybody who got fired because of something they tweeted, or even a like, we'll defend you to unlimited amount of money. We'll defend you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, don't count on that. Would be my
and immediately people noted the people who'd been fired from Twitter for saying things.
Whoops! So. Well, no, we didn't mean them.
we have the first case for you.
Yeah. No, we didn't mean them. I did read the replies to that initial tweet. There were thousands of people saying, yeah, I was fired. Give me, so anyway, good news for Google in that case, as Bloomberg put it, slimmed down lawsuit. Google did change the name of one of their products, though, in order to avoid a little scrutiny. So Google used to call their ads in-stream ads. These are the ads in the middle of a YouTube. They removed the in-stream classification from the name of one of its video formats because buyers are questioning whether Google's telling them the truth regarding inventory of ad inventory they're selling to them. In-stream ads are being renamed to skippable ads.
Oh.
Yeah. So just to more accurately describe the ad format, they didn't want people to know they were skippable until people said, wait a minute, it's skippable?
Oh.
In early June, we started offering display and video 360 advertisers 30 and 60-second unskippable in-stream ads on YouTube and YouTube TV.
Oh, I see. The presumption was they were unskippable. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They called them in-stream instead of unskippable. Or skippable.
Skippable.
Given that other YouTube
Okay,
ad
yeah,
formats serve in-stream, wow, our bad. My bad. Don't you hate it when people say my bad? Like, it's okay now, because I said my bad.
You caught us.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. We changed the name of the skippable ad format
Busted.
from in-stream ads to skippable ads for clarity.
That doesn't sound like a very good selling proposition now.
Do you buy skippable ads? No. In-stream ads? Oh, I'd buy
I would
those.
certainly pay less for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Much less.
A report from research firm, this is from Adweek, a report from research firm Analytics accused YouTube of misleading buyers, particularly selling outstream video placements while specifying to buyers that their ads would only air in-stream. And I'm not sure what this all means. If you're an ad buyer, you do. Google has denied the allegations in the Analytics report. In-stream ads typically refer to ads that accompany a video, while outstream ads appear in a user's feed or via a small muted video player within the article. Outstream ads are unlikely to be related to the content the user's watching. In-stream ads are.
I'm lost on this one.
Within Analytics' sample of ads that aired on the Google Video Partner Network, approximately 80% were found to be delivering on sites which offered muted, auto-played, obscured, that's the big one, or outstream video placements. So you think you bought an ad in the middle of Mr. Beast's video.
Right.
In fact, it wasn't playing in the video at all. It was playing in a little
On the
small
banner on the
screen.
side, perhaps?
And in many cases, that was covered up anyway, so nobody saw it at all.
Oh, sneaky Google.
But Google would charge people for the view. An
Sneaky
impression.
Google.
Analytics found that large swaths of advertisers' campaigns could end up on GVP inventory and not YouTube videos. So,
Yikes.
How dodgy is this?
Yeah.
Like, at what time did these come? Like, I just don't understand how you could be a reputable business. I mean, that's an argument for monopoly itself, just because, like, why would you ever go to this place if you knew how dodgy they were?
I feel like Google has an ad sales division that is pushing all the time, right? And Google just doesn't have enough control of them to keep them.
That's true of all ad sales divisions.
It's always
no?
always, yes.
Yeah, they're always going to try to sell something new. You know, when I started websites,
But it's
the pages got junky very fast because they won't buy the regular unit. I've got to sell a new unit. I've got to call it a super duper unit.
Yeah, we got a thing called a takeover. There will actually not be any content on the page. It'll just be an ad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to keep these, nothing. Look, they're trying to make a living.
Yep.
They're
Hey, yeah,
pushing as hard as they
exactly,
can.
but
It's the responsibility of management to say,
The
no.
advertisers are saying, I want something special and new. I don't want what everybody else is buying.
That we get that. By the way, I shouldn't. This is speaking out of school because I happen to be married, the person running the business. But people will say, literally, come to us and say, we don't want to do anything anybody else has done yet before.
Yeah.
What do you have that no one's ever done before? And we go, Nothing. What do you mean?
Well,
you want to put it on a balloon?
Hasn't occurred yet, so it's new.
What do you mean? We have certain things we do. That's about it. But
Yeah.
it's very common. And
I think you should offer a charades or charades ad. And that would be, we'll call it an engagement ad.
Costs 20% more because of the fancy pronunciation.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
And it's for a podcast, which makes it even special.
by the way,
Even more special.
that was an unskippable ad.
/twit.
Unless you are a subscriber to Club Twit.
Right. No, if you were watching the video, you saw an ad. If you were just listening, you just heard Leo breathing hard.
This is true.
He was moving fast.
One media buyer who was not authorized to speak to the press told Adweek, "I think it's dishonest. Were you not accurately representing skippable ad formats before?" The answer is no.
So how soon will we see the next lawsuit?
Yeah, that's a lawsuit
versus Google.
But ad buyers, agencies, and brands have complained forever about click fraud. And it's not just YouTube; it's everywhere, right, Jeff?
They can complain about
digital
click
ads are
fraud, but do they always have the data to back it up?
Well, in this case, I think they have.
Now they do, but
and Google virtually admitted it by changing the name.
You know, they
said, "Oh, whoops, my bad."
In the very earliest days of the web, GM, I think, was the first advertiser to insist to all media sites, "We're serving our ads. You open it up on your page so that we can serve our ads, so we know what got served." Now, whether it got seen or not was another issue.
Right.
But there was mistrust from the very, very first.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, that tension's always there from magazines using the ABC to say, "Oh yeah, 15 different people read this magazine. There was a big hand around. Everybody saw Time that week." By the way, the EU does not like behavioral ads. They do not like targeted ads, and they're increasingly showing this. Norway has just announced they're going to fine Meta 1 million crowns a day.
Which sounds like a lot more than it is.
Well, let me see here.
I don't know.
That's 89,000 euros a day. So, you know, it's almost $100,000 a day. That's non-trivial.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
I could not pay that.
No.
I would stop
Even
my
you,
bad
Stacey?
behavior. I know.
The most successful
if it were
IoT
50, you
podcaster
could,
in history? You?
I mean, that's not even supported by my bougie lifestyle. My goodness.
So this is
You'd
over.
have to give up a waffle a week.
This is over Google's admitted habit, or Meta's admitted habit. Google does it too, though, of data harvesting for behavioral ads. Now, a behavioral ad is different than a interest ad, right? I think so. So, and by the way, they ruled last month. Norway ruled that it would ban behavioral ads on Facebook and Instagram over privacy breaches. And they said, "You'll be fine if you don't fix this." They didn't, so that's why the fine has kicked in. This is what the regulator said. "Invasive commercial surveillance for marketing purposes is one of the biggest risks to data protection on the internet today. Users must have sufficient control over their own data, and any tracking must be limited." But this is something...
Nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah, but it is part of the... kind of the underpinning of how the web is financed, right?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yep. Well, would you rather have two choices? One, there's no targeting at all. It looks like you're going down the worst highway with nothing but billboards aimed at everybody. Or two, advertising just doesn't work anymore, so now everything's behind a paywall.
Well, there's a middle ground. So they call these behavioral ads because it's tracking based on sites you go see or groups you're a member of, as opposed to interests that you explicitly state. You know, when I remember dimly from being on Facebook that you might say, "I'm interested in college football." You can advertise against that. That's not a behavioral ad. But if you go to watch college football or you click a lot of college football stories, I think those are behavioral ads. So they're targeting.
When do you have? No, I don't know, Leo. When do you have the opportunity to fill out a form and say, "I like college football," and give me the ads on that?
Whenever you open,
I didn't say give me the ads.
You talk about it or go to
I
the
didn't
sites.
say give me the ads.
Whenever you open a social media account,
I say, what are you
they have a
interested in?
survey as soon as you open it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think anybody uses that.
I talk to Google
They
News and
all
I tell
do.
it what I want
Even
more or
Twitter
less
does
of
it.
based on my
Yeah, or
interests.
X.
Yeah.
Every time let me close and open close my Reddit account and log back in.
Blue Sky probably didn't do it. I don't remember them doing
Well, they don't have
Blue
any
Sky.
ads.
Right, but the other
This is gonna
platforms.
take me a little while because I gotta.
As soon as you log in with a brand new account, they say welcome and hey, what are some of your interests? Check here, check here, check here. You know.
I wouldn't buy any ads on that because the data's old. You sign into your Facebook account when you were still, in your case, Ant, when you were still a teenager looking for a first date, and you've changed since then.
I
Just
can't,
barely.
I can't remember but I think Facebook. I think Facebook's always done this, but I see it other places. I guess that's the point, And like Google News, ostensibly they're asking you so tell you which stories that they're going to show.
Unfortunately, Google News is still not quite getting it for me.
But do you think, Stacey, when you tell them that they also use that information and send it on to advertisers? Say, oh yeah, we got somebody who's really interested in IoT here. Sure.
It's not that they send it to the advertisers.
No, they don't
serve
tell the
based upon it.
Yeah, they sell ads against it. That's
Which is a big
really important difference we should absolutely emphasize. Because people kind of assume that they're selling it to the advertisers. They're not. They're selling you. Let's see. I'm going to log into Reddit. So I'm re-logging into Reddit. Let's see if it asks me what...
No, but that's logging in. You're not creating an account.
No, I logged out and logged in. Yeah, so sometimes it does it. It will give me a big pop-up that says...
Oh, just when you log... Oh,
yeah,
wow.
what do you want? What do you want to see more of?
Yeah. Okay.
And this is, by the way, this is closely tied to Reddit killing the API and the third-party apps. Because if you're on the web page, they can do all of that, and then they can show you ads against it. They couldn't do that on third-party apps. So,
whatever happened to that story?
I think Reddit won.
What was it? $25 million was a big. It was a big number like that.
So yeah, you're talking about Christian Selig, who created the Apollo app.
That's right.
And he said it would cost him, I think even more, $20 million a month to pay Reddit for what they wanted for their API access, and he couldn't afford it, so he shut the app down. A lot of third-party apps went away. A lot of mods and Reddit groups said, "Oh, that's no good. We're closing. We're not gonna. We're only gonna show pictures of."
Yeah, it went dark for a while, right?
What's his name from
John Oliver?
John Oliver.
Yeah, John Oliver.
Or we're going to mark our thing NSFW so they can't sell ads against it. Basically, behind the scenes, Reddit has fired those mods, has gotten rid of those people. A lot of people made noises they were going to leave Reddit, but there was no good alternative. As far as I can tell, Reddit is unchanged. It's business as usual.
I have mostly left Reddit.
Have you? Good for you.
Yeah, because I don't want... I like Reddit, but I don't like the app. And they're just... Part of this is all to get you more to the app, so the web experience is just so bad.
I agree. I'm so dependent on
I'd rather
Reddit
give
for
them
information.
money.
Well, I do pay them, by the way.
What do you pay?
Oh, yeah. With
the Karma?
You had the,
No,
he's got the premium.
There's Reddit Premium. Yeah.
Oh.
And so I don't see any ads.
They do a terrible job advertising that.
Maybe that's why they need the ads. I pay for my Reddit account. I don't think it's even that expensive. Let's see where it is.
Oh, I see. I'm looking for it. So I see this tiny little thing in the corner.
You have to really
Reddit
look
Premium.
for it. Yeah.
Try now.
Yeah.
Oh.
But, I don't mind paying Reddit because it's so intensely valuable. Although I completely understand the point of view of the moderators and the contributors that Reddit is just a platform. Mm-hmm. What you pay for and you find valuable on Reddit is our posts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there is value in being a platform. I mean, this is the double side. This is the platform problem. It's like being a member at a social club, right? You create a nice experience for people. You invest in that, and then those people come in, and other people are like, "Oh, I want to hang out with those people. I should totally join their thing."
Right.
And then you feed that back into investing in making the infrastructure and community nice.
It'll be interesting. One of the litmus tests I'll use, as you know, every December I do a coding challenge called the Advent of Code. It's really fun. Mm-hmm. And Reddit is the off-site kind of headquarters, unofficially. There's a whole subreddit called Advent of Code, and people every day, they post their solutions, they post their hints, their tips, their questions,
And it's very active 1 month a year. It's still around, but nothing's happening right now. But come December, this will be an interesting test. There have been people who've said, the Lemmy world, for instance, or the Lemmy, which is a Fediverse version of Reddit, sort of.
That's what everyone is suggesting to us here in our Discord.
Sort of. It's not quite. But anyway, they have an Advent of Code, whatever they call it, subreddit. I will compare the two in December, because that's really... It's things like that really are going to tell me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. If with all of this stuff going on with Reddit, would those communities decide to move to something like our sponsored discourse and make their own?
The difference is Reddit is centralized. Twitter is centralized. And so when you get Mastodon or forums, it's spread out. So with something like Advent of Code, you want to go where everybody else who's doing it is going to be there. Whatever the 400,000 people that are doing it, they're all there. So you need a centralized platform for something like that. Lemmy's interesting. This will be an interesting test. I have yet to find it as compelling, frankly, as Reddit.
Interesting. I think that's the first time I've heard you say this is where centralized would work for something on the show.
Yeah. 12 million people use Lemmy now, but
that's
Lemmy is like Mastodon. It's federated. So I'm on Lemmy World, which is, I think, the biggest
Lemmy
one.
is like Mastodon, and you have to make a lot of decisions, and sometimes it's hard to use, and you'll doubt yourself a lot.
I'll go ahead and say
it's okay. It's just not.
Taiku recommended this to me. I'll go ahead and say now, based on what I'm seeing on Mr. Laporte's screen, this is not what I'm looking for.
It ain't Reddit.
I'm not even looking for Reddit. I was just wanting Google News to work better.
Right.
I don't.
Well, look at my Reddit here. I'll go back to my Reddit, and you can see how you feel about that. Because to me, I go through this, and I've picked my interests. So you're not interested in Valheim the game, but I see a lot of Valheim posts. Succession, the TV show. Here's the Bay Area. These are all subreddits: politics, chess, programming. So I pick the things that I care about. This is a fun one. What is this thing? People post pictures.
What is this thing?
Of things, and they go, what is this? I found this. What is this? This is a piece of metal with jet lag written on it. What's it for? I like that one.
I like the stupid dove nests.
Stupid dove nests? Wait a minute.
Is it stupid dove? I think it's stupid dove nests. Or is that it?
All I ever thought Reddit was about was just the meme culture.
Stupid dove nests. This
is that.
In the middle of a bus station amongst the spikes. If you love, this is for Craig Newmark.
This is for Craig.
Yeah,
it's not doves; those are pigeons. Wait a minute,
pigeons
what's the
are
difference?
in the dove family.
Yeah, so a dove is a white pigeon, right?
The joke is that they just are they throw like 2 sticks on the ground and lay their eggs on it. And it's just picture after picture of like. The hell, man?
You got a problem with that? So that one
is good enough.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. They're not making the best decisions, are they?
These are not architecturally sound. I mean, these are actually okay, but the really beautiful ones are like, I came back from the grocery store and this is on my windshield, and it's like 3 sticks on your windshield wiper and an egg. Yeah. And they're like, dove nest.
Dove nest. I actually say the doves at the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, they've got a good place to nest. Gaudi, actually, he was a big fan of nature, built into the beautiful plaster facade of this massive Catholic cathedral, dovecotes.
Wow.
And they're places that you can see them walking in. They have these beautiful houses amongst the statuary. It's really incredible. That you will not find on Stupid Dove Nest. All right, we found this. This is an example of how you use Reddit. Yeah, I think I'd like to see more Stupid Dove Nests.
I never got into Reddit.
So I join it, and now it's in my list of things. And you can choose, by the way, notice best, hot. So these are the hot topics, new topics, or the most upvoted. The key on Reddit is people vote up or down.
Upvotes are the main.
So you see, the most upvoted ones are going to be the big stories that people are really paying attention to. And you see a lot of politics in here.
But that's part of your interest, though.
Well, but if I just follow best, there's a lot more Valheim and Succession. Here's some chess. Here's a little politics. Here's a little fishing. Here's a little, it's a little less. And of course, but see, for really geeky subjects like Emacs or Advent of Code, I think this is having a centralized place is great. If I go to Mastodon, a lot of that stuff is discussed on my twit.social feed, but it's more like Twitter. It's all kind of all over the place. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to create a masked email so I can have a Reddit account and try it out.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Create a masked email.
Dude, and there's some great accounts for like weightlifting and
photography,
physical fitness,
brown liquor,
photography,
cigars.
Yeah, because all I ever knew about with Reddit was just the meme culture, and I don't really care for that.
No.
I never really thought about going to Reddit for news.
The interesting thing about Reddit is it's very segregated. So there's a lot of adult content. I never see that because I'm just not following.
Right.
There's a lot of politics. If you don't want politics, don't follow politics. You won't see it.
Right.
You really get to choose your topics, which I like.
See, it's no good for me. I search for Gutenberg and I get WordPress or the Gutenberg the musical. It just doesn't work.
I'm excited about that. I saw a poster for that the other day. I thought Jarvis has got to know about this.
So it's been played elsewhere. I've actually, because it's like the producers. The idea is that they have to make them a horrible
really
show.
Bad.
And I've heard the soundtrack, and they succeed. It's really horrible. It's really
Josh
bad.
Gad is in it. That's fantastic. Yeah. Josh Gad and
I was
Andrew
trying to think of a way
Rannells.
to leapfrog onto this. What'll be a Gutenberg trend here? I was thinking maybe I should try to write actual Gutenberg facts for the playbill.
Well, you could do what the editor of Gizmodo is doing.
Stupid.
The editor of Gizmodo is really mad about the Tetris movie on Apple TV Plus. He said, the movie's taken from my book about Tetris, and he's suing him.
And I enjoyed that movie.
It was a good movie.
Oh, you're like, I have perpetrated a monstrosity.
That was like a Stacy reaction.
Damn. Well, but give this guy credit because it really does look like there are whole passages from the book that are in the movie. So remember the movie about Tetris really was more about the intrigue between the Soviet Union and the United States. It was more a political thriller.
Yeah.
He says that was my premise in my book. It was going to be a spy novel that just happened to be about Tetris. And the key scene in it, the wonderful scene, is where the guy who has boldly gone into the Soviet Union illegally to try to get the rights to Tetris is at some Soviet spy factory, right? And they're going back and forth negotiating with him and another guy. And it's a great scene straight out of the book.
So good.
Straight out of the book.
Dang.
So I think
he hadn't seen a dime.
Well, I think he's got a very strong case. This is what was it? The famous case, Jeff. You'll remember this. Was it Art Buchwald who sued, saying his book had been.
You're older than me, Dad.
Buchwald versus Paramount. You don't remember this?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Art Buchwald said that he brought the idea for Coming to America, the Eddie Murphy movie in 1988, to Paramount Pictures. They looked at his idea and said, yeah, that's great, thanks, see ya, and then made the movie. He won the lawsuit and got a big settlement from Paramount. We don't know how much.
This is why they don't open over-the-transfer stuff.
Right.
They don't want to.
I don't want anybody to send me ideas for podcasts in case I do them, and then they say, well, that was my idea. But no, the court found that Paramount
used
unconscionable means of determining how much to pay authors, called Hollywood accounting. Paramount said, we never made any money on Coming to America, so what is there to give you?
Oh, yeah, now I remember this part. Right.
Yeah. And so the court agreed with Buchwald that this was unconscionable, therefore invalid. Paramount settled for $900,000. So the editor-in-chief of Gizmodo is smart. He's starting off saying, I don't want profits because I know you're going to mess with that. That's going to be Hollywood accounting. I want a percentage of the cost of the movie, of producing it.
This is from Reuters. Dan Ackerman, editor-in-chief of the tech news website Gizmodo, filed suit in Manhattan federal court on Monday, a couple of days ago, accusing Apple, the Tetris company, and others of adapting his book, The Tetris Effect, the game that hypnotized the world, published in 2016. He sent it to the Tetris company, pre-release. They saw it, and they made the movie anyway, right? The book describes the Soviet history of the popular puzzle game and the fight for its global licensing rights as a, quote, Cold War thriller with a political intrigue, right?
Yeah.
That's what made it interesting, frankly.
Yeah.
So he's smart. Given the Buchwald Paramount case, he's not suing for profits. He's suing for a percentage of the production costs.
Smart, man.
It's sharp. That was a little bit of a digression from our central topic, which is about Google. We'll have more about Google in just a little bit.
Oh, gosh.
I want to tell you about something I just found, a brand new sponsor. Have you played with MyLeo yet? Because this is made for you.
I downloaded it last night. The photo app.
It's MYLIO, MyLeo Photos. MyLeo is what you've been looking for. First of all, it's very smart. It's privacy forward. It's completely offline. You're not storing in anybody's cloud unless you choose to. And even then, they'll say, okay, you want to encrypt it before you put it on Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox, so that it's completely private. But it does all the things that those other server-based tools do. For instance, I tagged about 20 pictures of family and friends. It then goes through the rest of my more than 100,000 photos, tags them.
Nice.
Very well, very accurately finds baby photos, everything. It will do smart tagging where it says those are mountains, that's a river, all the stuff that
I would normally have to do manually.
You would do manually. It's completely offline. You back up where you want. I actually have it going to my Synology. So I have a Synology backup of it. If you go with MyLeo Photos Plus, you can have it on all your apps, on all your devices. So it's on my iPhone, my Android phone. It's going to be on this. And you get to choose whether it's a thumbnail of the image, an optimized version of the image, or the original. And you can mix and match. It'll even tell you how much each is going to use up on your disk. It works with your device's filing systems, so you don't have to spend time to import. In fact, I said, yeah, get my Flickr. Oh, here is a great thing. I know I have tons of photos in Google Photos that I never put in my big dam in iCloud or in Lightroom. So it says, okay, fine. Do your Google takeout. I did. Got all the images, hundreds of gigabytes worth of images, and it just imports them. I don't have to do anything else. It categorizes them. It organizes them by folder. So it's year, day, month if you want, whatever you want. It did all the organization. It's super fast search, so I could type in a name and boom, there's all the pictures of that person. I can type in pictures of dogs. There's all my dog pictures. It's incredible. And here's the best part. It's free.
That's what got me like, wait a minute. Where's the cost on this?
Well, they would like you to get a subscription, but but all of the features I just described on one device are free. So go ahead and go to MyLeo Photos, download it, and try it. MyLeo.com/twit. And try it. You will see. Oh, I didn't mention this. It has OCR built in, optical character recognition.
Dude.
So I imported all my documents as well, and it automatically categorizes them based on text. And if there's text in the photo, it uses the text. It's if you're moving away from Evernote, if you want to get off the cloud, I moved away from Lightroom a long time ago. If you want a digital asset management tool, not just for photos, but for documents, you could find old documents you thought were lost. You can actually update them in the MyLeo Photos app and keep the original intact. It's because it's got OCR. And if you do decide to get the MyLeo Photos Plus subscription, all your devices connect to one central library, in effect, without a cloud storage. So I have one truth. So I can look on my iPhone. It doesn't have room to store all the photos, but I have all the thumbnails on my iPhone, so I know what I've got. Oh, and yeah, in the menu, if you want to edit it, you say edit it in whatever you want, Photoshop, Darkroom, whatever you like. They adds all your photo editing apps to the menu, so you can just put it right in there. This is the digital asset management tool you've been waiting. Preserve your digital legacy. I was blown away.
I have literally moved everything into it. Do it for free right now on your computer or mobile device. Go to myleo.com/twit. Please go to that address, not your app store, because I want to get credit.
Yes, please and thank you.
Go to that address. You're going to get some special offers for the subscription plan, the MyLeo Photos Plus. myleo.com/twit. If you have any questions, just download it right now for free. It's a little bit of a learning curve because it does so much, but they have a great tutorial built in. Walk your way through that. I think this is what you're looking for. mylio.com/twit.
I put this in our family, the Pruitt Slack channel yesterday because
everybody should be using it.
Is interested in photography,
right.
and I said, "Here, try this out." And I downloaded it yesterday, but now I really need to go look
If you start with it, then you never have to worry ever again. MyLeo, mylio.com/twit. Do you know
how big a drive did you have to buy for all of that?
Well, I bought 8 terabytes. Well, no, I bought an enclosure that holds 4 SSDs. And right now it's 4 2 terabyte SSDs, so it's 8 terabytes. But I have a feeling it's going to get bigger. But I can always add more storage if I need to. That's the other part of it. Because it's backing up to a lot of places, if I start over on one of them and just take it from everywhere else and put it in there. So,
man,
it's going to be easy to upgrade it. It's going to be easy to upgrade it. Let's see here. BlueJeans. Forever in blue jeans. Isn't that what Neil Diamond said?
Britches.
Guess how much Verizon paid in May 2020. So Verizon, I mean, just use their logic. It's May 2020. The pandemic's been going on for 3 months. They're going, opportunity, everybody's working from home. We need a video conferencing solution. So they went and bought BlueJeans for, are you ready for this? I think it was,
hit me.
How much was it? It doesn't say in this article. I think it was $400 million.
I was going to say $200 million.
Maybe it's $200 million.
You're probably right, though.
It was hundreds of millions of dollars. Unfortunately, about a month later, this thing called Zoom completely took over. And BlueJeans never went anywhere. Now, I have BlueJeans installed on my computer because I've done BlueJeans meetings. Have you ever done a...
I think the whole idea was BlueJeans was more corporate / enterprise from my experience versus being something that the average person would get their hands on, right?
Facebook
yeah, it was more like a
insisted upon
WebEx.
WebEx, yeah. More like that.
Yeah.
I see with a name, to me, I thought it was more like for schools and normal people. I thought it was relaxed.
No.
I always saw
It was a
it
good
more
service,
on the-
actually. I liked
Did
it.
it have a skosh more room in the crotch?
Wait, what?
Like a
What?
Levi
no.
501s? No? Okay.
No. It
No?
was less than 500 million, but the deal total wasn't.
It was a
I'm
lot.
just skipping right
It's
over
like
it.
$500 million, kiddos. Well, guess what?
Are you serious?
Guess what? They're shutting it down. It's
Not selling
over.
it, shutting it down.
Verizon buys stuff all the time and shuts it down. I mean,
They're like the
That's a huge...
Yahoo of telco.
That's incredible. They just could
it's
not compete with
Verizon.
Zoom. At the beginning of
And Google
2022, Google and Verizon partnered to preload the BlueJeans app on Google Glass.
Oh, jeez.
Dead in the water, folks. Dead in the water.
Talk about. So this is
cooties.
last year. Last year, the conferencing program you never heard of goes on the glasses you never wanted. Winning.
It's the perfect sales pitch. What are you talking about?
They had a free tier this year. They're trying desperately, right?
Dude.
But it didn't. No. I've been on BlueJeans meetings. They're all the same, aren't they? Pretty much.
Yeah.
They're commodities.
Yeah.
well, Verizon was also trying to pitch this idea that it would be integrated with its 5G services for professionals. So you would basically, like, think about a hospital or a HIPAA compliant business. They would be like, okay, use BlueJeans because Verizon can lock it down. Say
Okay.
that this conference. And the problem is there were all these other specialty services that were already marketed to medical professionals.
Right.
And the other thing is no one else was like super keen on paying Verizon more money for things that work with the 5G network when there was always Zoom and people would just send you a Zoom invite.
But you do remember that in the early days of Zoom, there was Zoom bombing.
Remember, a lot of schools were horrified.
We literally just had that at a city council meeting like a week ago. And I was like, guys, do you not know how to lock down your Zoom meetings?
Password on.
And then there was a number of security, not incidents, but like, for instance, Zoom was saying, "Oh, we're ending encrypted" when they weren't, and so there was a black mark on them. They went out and they hired people like Alex Stamos, and they bought a big crypto group, and the best crypto scientists out there, Keybase, and they said, make it secure, and I think they did a remark. That's almost a business school study of how to turn around what could have been a bad thing.
Make a mistake, they learn from it and try to improve is what it sounds like.
Are we going to talk about their latest mistake later on in the show?
What is their latest? Let's talk about it now. Oh, the new terms of service. Yes, people are upset about this. So the Zoom is saying, and I'm not sure it's as bad as it sounds.
I'm not sure what.
There's some bad messaging here, but what basically Zoom said that we can use some of your data for training AI and communications. Someone read that and inferred that that meant we can use anything that you say on a Zoom conference call to train our AI. That doesn't seem to be true, but it's not like Zoom's doing a great job articulating this so far.
This is one of those things where if we didn't have Twitter, we wouldn't have any of these outrages. Right?
I mean,
you're right.
So we wouldn't have any. Somebody tweeted, and I saw it on Mastodon too. Somebody tweeted, Zoom's terms of services now require you to allow AI to train on all, capital ALL, of your data, audio, facial recognition, private conversations, unconditionally and irrevocably with no opt-out. Don't try to negotiate with our new overlords, read one widely shared tweet this week, according to the AP. It's since been deleted. And the company has said, no, that's not true.
So what has the company said?
The company says it will use, yes. Here's their blog post from Smita Hashim, how Zoom's terms of service practices apply to AI features. Fortunately, Zoom had a crisis response team still in place from earlier in the pandemic. They basically said, no, you have to give permission. For AI, we do not use audio, video, or chat content for training our models without customer consent. Now, I hope that that's a big box.
So again, this sounds like the whole Adobe thing.
It's very similar. You get this moral panic, if I might steal a phrase, over terms of service.
That's fine.
But that happens all.
I have that trademarked.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Got it clear now, baby.
Where's the TM? I didn't see a TM. Did you see a TM? I didn't see a TM.
I'm suing you, Leo Laporte.
No, but this happens all the time. It's happened again and again where people read these boilerplate legal things, and sure, it does say we can use everything you give us forever in any form, no charge.
But read the second sentence, people.
But that's boilerplate, and it's often because in order to do what they do, they need to assert that. Almost always it's not true, right?
You do have to go and opt out of providing some of your data to Zoom for model training. And you can go change this. So let's see.
They say that. They explicitly say that, though.
Well, they say you have to opt out. And we all know how great people are at opting out.
They're just
I'm
not
just
reading.
Go into
they read
Zoom.
the first sentence, not reading the second sentence, because that's why they don't opt out. They didn't read the second sentence, basically.
They say, we will not use customer content, including education records or protected health information, to train our artificial intelligence models without your consent. We routinely enter into student data protection agreements with our education customers and our legally required business associate agreements with our healthcare customers. We recently introduced two powerful generative AI features, Zoom IQ Meeting Summary and Zoom IQ Team Chat Compose. These features require you, we have to look at the data to do these things. Zoom account, and this is in bold, Zoom account owners and administrators control whether to enable these AI features for their accounts. Now, if you enable them, of course, in order to have a meeting summary, it has to ingest your meeting. So I think that's why it says this in the terms of service, but that's if you turn on that feature. Here's what Zoom says it looks like. And this is my thing is, you can say it requires consent, but if that consent's buried in fine print at the end of a user license agreement that nobody reads, that's not consent. But it looks like they're pretty good here about.
Looks just like the Creative Cloud window.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that.
Web setting will be default off. If admin enables a toggle, they'll see a pop-up that talks about data sharing. You have to press accept. After accepting, admins can still disable data sharing at any time by turning this off, meeting summary with Zoom IQ. It makes sense. I mean, you and I know that if it's doing a meeting summary, well, it must have the data.
Yeah.
But maybe somebody might be surprised through that.
People are often surprised by things like that. I mean, think about the drama. Oh, go on.
Here's what the people who are in your meeting will see. Meeting summary has been enabled. So an AI generated content.
Fine print.
It's not that fine, and it's covering the whole thing, and you got to say got it or leave the meeting. So, I mean, how big do you want it to be, Jeff? That seems like...
Plus, what a lot of people... No, I'm great. Plus, a lot of people are using these other services where it comes in as another guest to the Zoom.
Right, and not telling anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Not telling you anything.
To reiterate, Zoom writes, we do not use audio, video, or chat content for training our models without customer consent. And as far as I'm concerned, if this is what the customer consent looks like, it seems like that's sufficient.
Fine to me.
Yeah. But we see this all the time with terms of service. People read it and they go, oh, they freak out. It's happened again and again. So
I don't think it's wrong though to change to look at them.
I'm completely with you. Yes. Online. This is from the AP again. Online privacy experts say this policy is now accurately reflected in the document. However, the terms do still allow Zoom to train AI on other data, such as how customers behave. And they question how much choice some meeting participants will have to opt out if, say, their boss decides, no, we're going to have the meeting IQ and it's on. Okay, yeah, you're working for a boss who doesn't care about your privacy, I guess.
Well, think about a city council meeting. If my city council meeting is recorded and they're doing an AI summary as a citizen and I want to go on, I have to commit to that. And that is a question that is worth talking about and answering. Or as a reporter, getting like the FCC and the White House hold meetings over Zoom. I have to agree to whatever terms they set in order to get in the building, as it were.
I mean, honestly, this is just the beginning. Because everything we do, including our podcast, at some point, I suspect, will be churned through an AI for things like show notes and summaries and action items. And
and beyond that, too, with a tool like NoWorkML and stuff, you have more ability to get to the data. I was at the AEJMC Communication and Journalism Academics Conference. Woohoo! The last couple of days. Dan Frumkin, who's a very good press critic, was there saying to people, reporters should be taking their entire interviews and not just taking the one quote out and putting the notebook in the drawer. They should be putting it all up into a database so that it becomes usable, right? And I think that's true. There's a lot of things that were ambient that died, but now that we can have other ways to get to it, I think it's going to be a lot more collection than we had only a few years ago.
Well, that's an interesting point because, like, I know that Ohm started his blog, and I often thought of blogging when I started at an earlier publication I was at, as the blog was the repository for things in your notes that didn't make it into the story. So
Right.
you're like, oh, this is interesting.
Right.
I'll just write a little thing. And so it was searchable. It was accessible. And then Cory Doctorow talks about this a lot. I know that I do this, is you take all of those little things over time and they become part of a bigger story. So it's kind of the inverse of what traditional journalism might have been, and you're doing it kind of in front of everyone.
it's okay, though, right? That's a good idea, isn't it?
Yes and no. So, like, if I look at my notes, like, I have little codes that when I'm typing up my notes, I'm like, oh, this is off the record. So I pull that out. I could never just throw my notes into an AI to make sure, without.
Right.
And some of it's like, I mean, I type little notes to myself within my notes. This is BS. Check this fact.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to publish that. I guess the other thing I'd be concerned about is the raw notes published without context might be misrepresenting the actual facts of the matter, or no.
And my notes are in shorthand. And like, if I have notes from, like, let's say I have notes from an interview with Donald Trump, and then I go talk to a Trump rival. If I just publish my notes from Donald Trump, and then next week is my interview with the rival, you're getting an incredibly biased view.
Mm-hmm. What if, all right, let me give it to you this way. Instead of your reporter notes, what if when you do an interview, you record it and it's transcribed? What if, as in that blog post, not as part of the story, but you said at the end of the story, for the full transcription of the interview, click here?
I think that'll be helpful. People can see the context.
Because they're trying to manipulate you. I mean, part of my value as a reporter is that I recognize, I have the knowledge to say, this is not how that works.
So I'll just say bat poop crazy things, and I'll know it'll be in the transcript.
Oh.
While the reporter won't put it in.
That's how people use social media literally today. That's how we're fighting this disinformation.
It's unmediated. Yeah.
You've taken my whole job away. Now I'm just a person people talk to, Jeff. No.
Well, but so the primary form of the article is your analysis, interpretation, your selective quotations, which is your attempt to tell the story accurately. But yes. I don't think I think having the primary materials, even if you put a disclaimer at the front of it that says, look, you know, if you really want to know what's going on, read the article. But just in case you want to actually hear what this person said, here's the full unedited transcript. But understand that he might be, you know, manipulating you.
Yeah, there's a couple of value. I think Stacey's absolutely right about the danger, but there's also some value. One is you can see the reporter plucked out a quote, and you can see the larger context, number one. Number two, the reporter was after one thing in a story, and there could be 5 other stories in that interview, 5 other things of interest that didn't work in the reporter's story, but that someone else, she talked to the CEO of HeLa.com. Well, I want to read that for a dozen different reasons.
That is true.
Circling back to the Zoom story, I know, Sant, you're talking in the Discord, and a number of people are saying, Jason Howell, our producer, that Zoom changed the terms after the brouhaha.
Allegedly.
That the with your consent part was added subsequently.
Uh-oh.
But Zoom has done that before. I mean, this is a pattern with Zoom. And I don't know if it's sloppiness.
What was your phrase, Stacey? My bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's sloppiness or if it's trying to put one over on people and then getting caught.
Yeah.
I think you could interpret it both ways. Zoom has definitely done that before. I mean, this is not the first time.
Well, they could have decided, the world is not ready for this. We pushed too hard. Let's walk it back. And then let's wait a little bit and then walk it forward again. I mean, you see companies do that all the time.
Cool.
Look at location sharing.
Right.
Still not cool.
I can't, I just don't know. I don't think we know what the intent was. It could very well be just, whoops, our bad. We didn't mean it that way.
Or we're doing this. We better put out some new rules.
I think lawyers were like, guys.
You've been doing that?
I've been reading some weird stuff. Are we doing any of this? And they're like, we're looking at it?
Maybe.
I'm not going to. I wouldn't jump on the thought that maybe they were trying to mislead people. That's certainly possible.
Well, I won't compare this to Adobe then, because I know for a fact when Adobe's update announcement came to me, it was right there, plain black and white. And then a month or so later, all of the brouhaha showed up on YouTube. Adobe's going to share my stuff with its AI.
Right.
And I'm like, none of y'all read the stuff because it was right there in black and white.
I don't think this is as clear cut as that.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it sounds like Zoom maybe changed their tune when they got caught.
Yikes.
Okay. Do you want to do an AI segment? This seems like this would lean naturally into the AI
you're saying?
Sure. I just wish we had a theme song.
I know.
For it.
I did bring that up to someone, by the way.
A musician?
The theme song. Have them sing the theme song.
To your wife, I hope.
It's time for the AI segment. Actually, it will be in just a moment, but I have to take a deep breath. All right, now it's time for our AI segment. Google says, this is interesting. This is really interesting. This is from The Guardian. Google says AI systems should be able to mine publishers' works
unless they opt out. In other words, it's on the publisher and the writer.
It's robots.txt. It's
opt out.
Google's present systems mine publishers' content unless they opt out with robots.txt. Exactly the same.
This is a response to people like Sarah Silverman who are suing artists like Thomas Kincaid who are upset that, or Greg Wachowski.
Thomas Kincaid isn't alive, is he?
No, he's not upset. He's dead.
His estate.
Yeah.
His estate.
Actually, it's Greg
upset.
Wachowski, the fine artist Greg Wachowski.
I mean, who would want to steal Thomas Kincaid's stuff? Jeez.
And AI.
Come
are you
on,
kidding? AI's
Jeff. We
love
know
it.
there are a lot of people
AI
who love
love
that
it.
stuff.
Come on, everybody's not as bougie as you, Mr. Jarvis.
No, I think the painter of light is bougie. Actually, Jeff is elitist.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry. As bougie approved, Thomas Kincaid is not Stacey Bougie approved. I'm just
Oh.
gonna-
I know this. I know this.
No. I can't imagine that hanging over the couch. No, Stacey.
It hangs over my parents' couch.
Does it? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the bougie doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm just saying.
Well, my
there.
equivalent, Stacey, is my father-in-law used to actually go to the Starving Artist art sales.
Oh. Well, they were starving.
Yeah.
He just wanted to help.
Okay, but wait. So going back to Google for a second, because Google can't say, I mean, the issue here is Google's like, yeah, you got to opt out. But we literally just invented this. So we've got to give people the notice that they can opt out. I don't think this illegitimizes, that is not a word, those lawsuits. I think we can say, hey, okay, how are we going to handle this? And then, so Google's kind of victim blaming here, I feel.
So, in a submission to the Australian government's, there's a big difference between Austria and Australia, just an L.
I thought so.
Between the Australian government's review of the regulatory framework around AI, Google said in this submission, copyright law should be altered to allow for generative AI systems to scrape the internet. This is from The Guardian. The company has called for Australian policymakers to promote, quote, copyright systems that enable appropriate and fair use of copyrighted content to enable the training of AI models in Australia on a broad and diverse range of data while supporting workable opt-outs for entities that prefer their data not to be trained using AI systems. And this is both OpenAI and Google have proposed the use of robots.txt. That's a text file. That's a text file right now that sits in the root directory of every website that says whether Google or other search engines can scan your material. It's voluntary. It's like a do not track. It's voluntary on Google's part, but they honor it. So I have a website. I have a robots.txt. If you're worried about the bandwidth, for instance, that somebody is scraping up, you can put them in there and block them or allow them only parts of the site and so forth. They're proposing something like that for AI. I think that's exactly right. There is a benefit.
There's. All right, you go first, Stacey. Then I'll do my yes, but.
Okay, I was just going to say, I don't know that opt-out is the right tool to use in this case. I certainly don't. I mean, if that is going to be the way we do it, then we have to standardize it and put it into every browser and everywhere that something might be published, because things get cut and paste from the web all the time. So my stuff, if I've opted out on my site, my stuff gets stolen all the time and is then somewhere else, and I can't control that. So I feel like you should really, the best and most responsible way to do this is to do data repositories, incentivize people to stick their stuff in for training. That is the most ethical way to do it. Google's saying opt out because that benefits them, and that makes sense. But we don't have to build an entire society just to benefit Google and the big tech guys.
All right, now can I do my yes, but?
Yes.
No, but. So, one, I think that in the long run, and this is a guess, the courts will decide that this is fair use and transformative use. That I can read a book and be inspired by it. If I make a movie about Tetris and I steal whole pieces, no. But if I say, I'm going to write a book about technology and I got inspired by game people because I read a bunch of books about gamers, that's my perfect right to do. That's how the arts work, right? And I think the machine should have the same right. The second issue that I have is, and there is an obvious question there. Did you buy the book? How did you get to the book? How did you read the book, right? That's an issue. But I can go to a library and I can read the book for free and I can be inspired by that. Second point is, if we shut down everything, then the only thing that's going to be available to scrape are the worst of society. And so there's a larger question about these things are going to be out there. They're going to be used. They're going to be, even when they're used responsibly on other corpi of data, then society does want them to be used.
That's corpora, Mr. Jarvis. Just wanted to correct you on that. It's corpora.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I woke you up.
I'll go back to sleep. No, well, in fact, that's exactly what the Guardian article says. Copyright experts say that's a flipping the copyright law on its head, that you have permission until somebody says no.
I think that's wrong. That's what a lot of people said in mind, that they're not flipping copyright on their head. That's the only thing. I don't think it does that at all.
Well, here's my question though. Isn't there a society? So copyright is all about protecting society's interest. It's protecting the.
Actually,
no. Where did you get that from?
Well, okay.
It creates a marketplace.
I got that from the founders. That's the original premise of patent
statute of ban. Gutenberg parenthesis book. I have a chapter about that right here. When the statute of ban was passed, it was at the assistance of the booksellers, the stationers, and the publishers who wanted a tradable marketplace for tradable assets. The author started with the asset, but the point was the author could sell the assets so that then there became a marketplace so that publishers could trade them, sell them, control them, buy shares in them. It was all about that marketplace of the farther down the chain. Just for the record.
Well,
but go ahead.
Here's what I would say. There are two parties, right? There is the person who created the content, whether it's a patent or a copyright or a trademark. There's a person who created it and currently owns it. And then there's the greater interest of society. If all you were doing was protecting the owner's rights, you'd just be in perpetuity. No, they created it, they invented it, they own it forever. But the copyright and patent systems both have expiration dates, and the purpose of that is to make sure that after the original creator is able to recoup his expenses and make a reasonable profit on that, then society benefits from that invention or that work and can use it then subsequently without license fee or
150
charge.
years later, right?
Well, and the original patent was shorter and the original copyright was a lot shorter. And over time, I think the pendulum has swung in the favor of way too strongly in favor of copyright holders to be,
the copyright holder is not the creator anymore. The copyright holder is Disney.
Well, there's a variety of other things that happen in the medium, but really it swung the wrong way, and it was life plus 1,000 or whatever. I mean, they're pushing it as long as they can. In fact, society does have somewhat of an interest in patents expiring and copyrights expiring. That's how you could create Disney's movies, because they had access to Grimm's fairy tales without license. It was Disney who then said, but now I own Cinderella. So I think in that light, there is a societal interest in letting AI use stuff because it makes AIs better. We wouldn't have AI if you couldn't scrape this stuff. So I think
you could, but based on the amount of money. So AI is something that you could eventually make money off of. You build these tools, you build these algorithms, and then you can sell that to people, right? So why not create an incentive structure to get people to donate their data, or so pay me for access to my site. Say,
I'll tell you why.
You are such a
because you can't afford the whole.
Such a small fraction of the total would be available. It'd be like saying
terribly.
It would be like saying to book authors, "Hey, anybody want a permanent copyright? Me. Anybody want to allow stuff to go into the public domain after 10 years after you die? No. Maybe a few people, whatever. Some people
put up all its crap for that purpose, but
I would put up all my crap because I've already figured out this also means we change the way we monetize content. And Jeff, you're a big fan of this. So think about what kind of infrastructure and value you might have for a true expert to create content and donate it to a site to become part of their AI. And maybe it's after 5 years. Maybe it's after 1 year. I don't know.
But let's look though, Stacey, at what the model training is. Just learning the structure of how to do it. And that doesn't actually, if they do it right, that doesn't really use the content so much as
there's tons of public works that are already available that could teach you how to speak English.
But fine, you're going to go back to the stuff that when Jim Crow laws were still around, the books written then used words we don't use today, and I think that there's an issue there for society as a whole. There's another interest to society, as Leo says. And the model training is not reuse itself. It doesn't remember it. It just maps it.
You can train models, though, with less data. I mean,
yes,
so if we're talking about training a model... Oh, sorry, Andy, go ahead.
You're hitting on what I was thinking about with the Sarah Silverman discussion, because I'm pretty sure that the AI grabbed it from some pirated website, more than likely, right? So is it possible?
Or it could have, you know what?
Or somebody pointed this out on Good Morning America.
Somebody pointed this out on Sunday, that it could just be a summary of all the other reviews and
the
summaries.
People that legitimately read it.
Maybe it didn't read her book, but it's just summarizing everybody else's summary.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is an example of what it does, right? I can read the book and I can write a review. I'm perfectly within my rights to absorb her book and write that. So why shouldn't this AI have the same right? And by the way, the irony here is that so far the courts have given the products of AI no protection.
That is true.
Which is an interesting angle here.
And if you want to keep going on that angle, think about what Amazon was just doing with the Jane, what's her name?
Jane Friedman.
I was getting to that. I've got her article.
Okay, because
you've gone down the rundown there, Stacey.
Yeah. Well, no, this is exactly it, though. Jane Friedman, who is a novelist. I've never read her novels, but
Jane Friedman is also former editor of HarperCollins, extreme expert on the publishing industry. She has a newsletter I subscribe to called Hot Sheet.
Okay.
So Jane is followed by everybody in publishing. So when she complained, everybody noticed.
Yeah. So she's a perfect person to step up and say something. She says in her blog post dated August 8th, I would rather see my books get pirated than this, or why Goodreads and Amazon are becoming dumpster fires. Her complaint is that people used her good name to generate AI books that she did not write over her name.
So it wasn't an issue of copyright at all. I got in this argument on LinkedIn. It was an issue of the use of her reputation, likeness, name.
She says, garbage books getting uploaded to Amazon where my name is credited as the author, such as a step-by-step guide to crafting compelling ebooks, building a thriving author platform, and maximizing profitability. Or promote to prosper strategies to skyrocket your ebook sales on Amazon. Or... and this one has a pig on the front, how to write and publish an ebook quickly and make money.
So does this not fall on Amazon to filter out?
But here's the issue. Yeah, the issue is that she told Amazon that this was happening. And Amazon, sorry.
At first didn't.
At first. They have now removed them, as has Goodreads, which is an Amazon company, I should say.
Then we get to this idea of, okay, so we have crappy models or people abusing a good model to make crappy products. Then the model is blameless if we take that worldview. Then we have to rely on companies to police it. And so far, companies are doing a crap job at policing it, and we don't have the legal tools necessarily to force them.
I wonder, Stacey. I think that if I took the I don't have it right here. No, I don't have it. Damn it. Oh, yes, I do. If I took your bougie sticker,
yes, I don't have it. Why don't I have the sticker?
Because I was there. Because I made the effort of going on my pilgrimage.
Can we send Ms. Higginbotham her stickers?
No. She'll have to be here next week, just like Mr. Jarvis.
Oh yeah, you just have to come get them. Come on and get them.
I'm going to make this picture, and I'm going to make bougie beer, Stacey's bougie beer. Yeah. And I'm going to put this, a good idea, by the way, and I'm going to put this on the label of my beer. Now, you can then sue me because I have used your likeness. This goes back to one of the very first privacy issues when a woman's likeness was put on sacks of flour without her consent.
Aunt Jemima.
Now, I said Stacey, so I'm using your name, your good reputation for the bougie beer.
That was syrup.
Oh, gosh. Wrong product, sir.
Yeah. You can't get Uncle Ben's rice. You can't get Aunt Jemima's syrup.
Nope.
You can't get Aunt Jemima pancake mix.
Nope.
And God bless it.
For good reason.
For good reason.
Yes. So this is about likeness.
Although
and
it wasn't until
and all
like
that.
2021 that the company
Just took a while.
it down.
I know, yeah.
It took a while. It took a while.
A little
Hey, Henrietta Lacks got her day in court and justice.
Yay,
as well.
HeLa!
Back.
HeLa, HeLa, HeLa. We're talking
God, how your
Henrietta
brain
Lacks and
works.
the immortal gene she was in the 50s, a black woman who was diagnosed with cervical cancer. Physicians removed some cells from her cervix. They had an interesting property. They reproduced again and again without ever dying.
Yep.
The physician noticed this, started to sell the cell line. It was used to develop by Jonas Salk to develop the polio vaccine, used to develop the COVID vaccine. It's been used in labs everywhere, all over the world. The estate of Henrietta Lacks was never informed of this. There's a wonderful book about it called The Immortal Cell of Henrietta Lacks.
Immortal Life.
Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. She was never informed, but her estate learned of it. They sued and they just settled. And they don't say how much, but I imagine they got quite a bit of money from the medical company that was selling her immortal genes with no fee or license to
So
her.
back to Stacey's point.
By the
You're
way,
right,
though,
Stacey, the
that does
company should be
apply.
held-
That does
Yes,
apply
I was
to
about to
this
say
whole,
that also applies.
Yeah, this
So
whole
keep
open
going.
source.
It's actually relevant. Surprising.
Yeah.
It's not surprising when I bring stuff up. It's relevant, y'all.
Anyway, Jane
But you're
Friedman
right,
writes.
Stacey, that Amazon should be held to the
Yes.
fire because they become an accomplice to the crime of stealing her image or likeness or reputation.
She
right?
writes,
So there
we desperately need guide rails on this landslide of misattribution and misinformation. Amazon and Goodreads, I beg you to create a way to verify authorship or for authors to easily block fraudulent books credited to them.
Yes.
Do it now. Do it
Yes,
quickly.
that's the
an
issue.
easy fix, and
You would
Amazon
think
can
Amazon
do it.
right. They have the
Well,
resources for that.
I suspect
I've
they
got
do.
an author page. I'm verified by my publisher. It wouldn't be hard at all to say to my publishers to say, yeah, that's him.
Right.
And I have that right.
It apparently, if you need to have your Goodreads, you'd think if your Goodreads page, it's your page, you'd be able to put what books are there, and no. If you need to have your Goodreads profile corrected as far as the books credited to you, you have to reach out to volunteer librarians. She puts them in scare quotes on Goodreads, which requires joining a group, then posting a comment thread that you want illegitimate books removed from your profile. When I complained about this on X, an author responded she had to report 29 illegitimate books in just last week alone. 29. And this is the problem, is it's trivially easy to create these books. Amazon absolutely needs to set up a system. I suspect they will, but
There's some complications. There is another Jeff Jarvis who's a jazz musician.
right.
You got to disambiguate people. You've got to verify them. There's some expense, but they should do it because it's
Heaven
got the
forfend a
resources.
billion-dollar company
They got
Right.
deal with the problems. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, they're all about scale. I get it. But at some point in time, you have to say, oh, this is where we need to spend money, because not only is it ethically the right thing to do, it's also going to eventually hurt our business. I mean, Amazon
Yes.
is dealing with counterfeits left and right, and it's a problem for them.
And they're making a little bit of money. They just did their quarterly results. They made some billions and billions and billions of dollars.
What another segue. Oh,
last
amazing. You're a
quarter.
master.
And interestingly, CEO Andy Jassy on their Thursday earnings call said every single Amazon team is working on generative AI. Not on blocking fake books, apparently, but on generative AI. He says they range from things that help us be more cost-effective and streamlined in how we run operations and various businesses to the absolute heart of every customer experience in which we offer. It's true in our stores business. It's true in our AWS business. It's true in our advertising business. It's true in all our devices. You could just imagine what we're working on. And you're going to have to, because I'm not going to tell you. So, he's saying AI is important, even though Amazon, unlike OpenAI or Microsoft or even Google, doesn't offer I don't think, do they? You never know with Amazon. They might just forgot to tell everybody a chat bot or anything that uses AI. I don't think there's any consumer-facing AI from Amazon. Maybe an LLM for Amazon's Echo?
It could be something just more for their operations. Who knows?
Yeah, well, Jassy said in last quarter that they are working on an LLM for Echo. Job listings.
Well, they should. I mean,
They should, because Echo's
everyone is.
stupid. Job listings from earlier. No, actually, it's not. I play Jeopardy every night with my Echo, and it stumps me every time. It's very smart. Job listings from earlier this year indicated Amazon was hiring to improve Amazon search with an, quote, interactive conversational experience. Problem was, you don't really want an AI because they're pretty chatty. You know, it's bad enough when the Echo says, oh, and by the way, did you know there's 4 other ways to do the same thing you just did? I don't want to hear that.
No.
So we had the founder of Josh AI, which is a...
Is his name Josh?
Natural language.
Josh AI?
No, his name is Alex. So the company's name is Josh.ai. And what it is
It's like calling your AI Bob.
It's a private...
Microsoft already did that.
NLP.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so it's a private voice company. And they actually added Josh GPT. So they've created their own generative AI. And when he was on the show, he talked about how he both messages people who are using it so they understand the limitations of the generative AI, and then also when to use just normal NLP and when to use generative AI. And it's been a real learning curve for them because, yeah, you're right. Some people are like, don't give me a lot, just turn on my freaking lights.
Yeah.
And so the distinction they're learning to make is just figuring out when you use one or the other. And storytelling, apparently a lot of people want to talk about recipes, travel plans. There are a lot of like prompts that they're like, oh, this is clearly a generative AI kind of thing. So we're going to see these built in. We're not necessarily, it's not like Amazon's Madam A is going to get a new name. It's just that we're going to see better answers to things, and we'll be able to ask all sorts of questions and get good answers. And some will be easy.
Go ahead.
Yes, John?
Oh, no. I was like, somebody's...
The commercial.
Do it. Oh.
But the latest technology isn't always easy to use for people of a certain age.
These kids done bought me a busted machine again.
Odessa.
That's why Amazon partnered with AARP to present the new Amazon Echo Silver, the only smart speaker device designed specifically to be used by the greatest generation.
See a great Saturday Night Live Amazon Echo.
was one of the best.
Oh, don't...
we weren't supposed to cut back to our cameras.
Waffles?
We were
I
a
saw
little
some
busy.
waffles.
Just to make Stacey jealous.
We got waffles in our
jealous.
snack cabinet now. These are the worst waffles I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. I was like, who makes those waffles?
Well, not makes,
Those don't look
made
like my Eggos.
several months ago.
It'll do.
They look right.
They warm
They're
it
not
up.
exactly crispy.
Just get a
you
little.
can have
Maybe one of those hotel waffle machines.
I didn't touch it. I just...
You're fine.
I mimed.
I'll eat it.
I mimed it. I mimed eating it. All right, let's take a little... Oh, we're not... I'm sorry. I was going to take a break, but we have a couple more.
We have more AI.
AI stories. AI red teams, says the Washington Post, are attempting to break AI and make it go rogue. You know, Black Hat and DEF CON are coming up in Las Vegas. And there's going to be... Yeah, it's going on right now. In fact, we're going to talk about it on Sunday with people who are there right now.
Cool.
There is a big public red teaming event for AI going on right now. It's DEF CON's AI Village. The Generative Red Team Challenge has drawn backing from the White House as part of its push to promote responsible innovation in AI. You're getting top hackers, according to the Washington Post, top hackers, the best people from all over the world. They're going to come together to rack up points by inducing AI models to
All under
err
the age of 18.
in various ways. Hi, I'm Timmy. I'm one of the best hackers, with categories of challenges that include political misinformation, defamatory claims, and algorithmic discrimination or systemic bias. Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, Stability have all volunteered chatbots and image generators to be put to the test. They want to know, how you can jailbreak their AIs. They gave as an example, there was an event at Howard University last month, a preview of this larger event. One AI chatbot exposed someone's private medical information. Another coughed up instructions for how to rob a bank. One speculated that a job candidate named Juan would have weaker interpersonal skills than one named Ben.
And one concocted an elaborate recounting of the night in July 2016 when Justin Bieber killed Selena Gomez.
You see, these things should have been set out only as fiction machines. The machines do what the machine's designed to do. The fact that they are presented as something that's going to present any fact is where the mistake is. And people are going to use it to do bad stuff.
It's a human error, not a machine error.
It's a human error. Yes. We are the ones. And even when it does reveal something, it reveals our biases. It's all filled with our stuff.
Yeah, but if you're gonna, I mean, the point of these things isn't to like show that machines are stupid or bad or whatever. The point is to say, hey, if you're gonna rely on these, which people ultimately will, they shouldn't, but they will. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
we know this.
Look at all the self-driving
the
schmuck lawyer.
I know,
right? Every mistake was him. He wasn't the machine.
I get it, but people are going to use it, so we need to have an understanding of how people will do this, and that is just responsible. I mean, it's kind of like saying if you're going to build a car, you got to test drive it.
But you can't possibly stop it from doing everything imaginable that someone is going to try to make it do.
That security is never going to. It's never a final stop.
No.
But you have to constantly push the boundaries to understand where your weaknesses are.
Stacey, if I said I want to write me a story about someone named Leo Laporte as a bank robber, how do you and which Leo's done, right? Even on the show, how do you anticipate that?
Let's be clear. I've never robbed a bank.
Nor have you done it on the show.
On the show or off the show, I have never robbed a bank.
That's one type of prompt engineering, and we know it because people have done that. Well, but you have to be.
What if Leo is a bank robber? How do we expect that? There's no way for the machine to know the difference. And for us to think that we can build a guardrail around that is an impossibility, a logical impossibility, I would argue.
For us, though, to not recognize where the machine makes common mistakes is like building something on the edge of the cliff without realizing there's a cliff there.
The mistake was me telling it to write a story about Leo Laporte, the bank robber. It's not a mistake. I did what I told it to do, and it did.
Yeah, but we can't trust that you're always going to be an ethical actor. So we have to.
Then don't build this technology at all.
Okay, so don't build the house on the edge of the cliff.
Don't make it part of Bing and act like it's going to return any facts. There was this big story, I think it was Washington Post, about the AI lied about me. I can make it lie about anybody on Earth. There's no way. There's no logical way to build that guardrail. Now, this goes back in a way to Leo's point about whether ChatGPT, whether LLMs are this life-changing thing. I don't think they are, but I think other elements of machine learning are. And so I think we've gone off the road here. So in a way, we're agreeing, Stacey. I think that the only solution here is to tell people, don't use that crap. And don't rely on anything that you used it for.
Okay, well, why even develop it?
Well, that's the question. Yeah.
We have to, we can't throw this out into the world without having people test it and see where it goes wrong.
Right.
How do you test the Leo as a bank robber scenario?
You show people that you can get
Leo
it to
actually
lie.
robbed a bank. I'm going to write a story saying Leo robbed the bank.
I guess I don't understand.
Can you stop saying I'm robbing banks? I don't.
I don't understand the point you're trying to make with the Leo as a bank. Like we have to know how to make it. We have to know how to make it.
I haven't had to rob a bank since Club Twit started 2 years ago. I just want to be very clear. I've given all that up.
Thank you for ending Leo's career of crime, club members. It's another benefit you have. You go to sleep at night knowing you made Leo a better person.
I thought I was going to be spending the rest of my life in Alcatraz. Google's.
I get where Stacey's coming from,
yes,
though, because I think about the incident with the police the other week where it worked. It actually stopped that car that was carrying traffic and drugs or what have you.
But it was. But they
at
were
the
taking
same
pictures
time,
of everybody. Yeah.
What's to stop it from saying, "Hey, you're Aunt Pruitt. We thought you was old doctor, even though you're both black, both of you drive a BMW."
Well, somebody pointed out, I don't know if this is true, but I think it's true. Every single instance of mistaken identity arrests, thanks to facial recognition,
people of color. Every single, no white person's ever been arrested for mistaken identity. Just people of color, due to face recognition, due to AI. If that's true, I don't know how.
I don't know how that stuff can be fixed. Yeah. I just know it definitely needs to be addressed.
I think you could. Well, Stacey has talked about this. I think you could say to police departments, you may not use it for that. Well, or it has to be vetted this way and that way. Yeah. You could use it for missing persons.
But at the same time, it worked in that scenario last week or 2 weeks ago. It worked. They got those drugs off the street.
Well, something can work. I mean, the question we have to make as a society is, if something works 80% of the time, is it worth it to have 1 out of every 5 person be wrongfully arrested?
That's why we have That's why we have the Fifth Amendment or Fourth Amendment, because the founders realized that, you could have perfect law enforcement if you were willing to invade everybody's privacy, but we do have a right against unlawful search and seizure. And yes, that means law enforcement's not going to be 100% perfect, but that's the price you pay for some freedom. That's the same reason we have the jury system, assuming you're innocent until proven guilty. Yes, some guilty people will get away with it, but far better that one guilty person or 10 get away with it than one innocent person is convicted. So that's our jurisprudence. That's the way this country's been formulated, and I think that's the right way to be. Now, let me solve this issue between you and Jeff here.
You never will.
I think I've come to this. In fact, we had this conversation a little bit on Windows Weekly. Richard Campbell calls it the hype cycle. You know what the hype cycle is, right? And you see it all the time in all kinds of things, especially in Silicon Valley.
Always.
Here's a simplified.
Is this the Gartner hype cycle?
Yeah.
Why, yes, it is.
So there's a technology trigger, and then there's the peak of inflated expectations. We are right there, baby. Yeah. Heading down to the trough of disillusionment, leading to the slope of enlightenment and the plateau of productivity. And I think that's exactly where we are in AI.
Somebody should have copywritten this, by the way.
Well, we're going to give Gartner credit, because I think that that was pretty.
Didn't Gartner copyright it?
They should get money every time you mention it. See, that's the.
It's developed, used, and branded by the American research advisory and information technology firm Gartner. So thank you, Gartner Group, trademark Gartner. But the point is well taken. It's actually a good metaphor, and it's well taken because that's where we are in AI, where we are kind of putting on AI all of these capabilities we know it can't do. But at some point, we're going to figure out what AI can be reasonably safely used for and what things it shouldn't be used for. And I think Stacey's right. The only way we find that out is by trying it. And I think Jeff's right that you cannot overstate you can overstate the value of AI, that it's not for everything. And we all agree that, for instance, the notebook LM that you were talking about at Google, which takes existing content and synopsizes it, that's a perfect use.
That's and training that model so it can do that is a value that is not generative and does not violate copyright, but uses the knowledge in different ways.
Yeah. So I think you're both right. I mean, we need to understand the limits of AI, and the one way we do that is by red teaming. But there is going to be value to it, and I think it's reasonable to avoid Stacey's skepticism. Stacey, this is a new badge we are adding to the collection of menagerie. Stacey Higginbotham is skeptical of your waffles. I'm skeptical of those. What are they?
Well, I've already gone through half of them.
They're pretty tasty?
I'm fine with them.
Aunt is like, I'll eat them both.
I'm fine with them.
It's more like a ho-ho than a waffle.
Either that or I'm carb depleted.
Okay, that does not look. A ho-ho is a chocolate cake filled with cream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are you from, dude?
You ignorant slut, Leo. How could you not know that?
It's nothing like a...
I was like, where is your little Debbie knowledge? Come on, man.
Nothing like a... or any snack cake I've ever met before. Let's take a deep breath, and we'll come back with the Google changelog in just a moment. Nothing like a ho-ho, you ignorant slut.
I was like,
no, that's
heathen.
Keep up the good work. No, I love it. Oh, my. Time for the Google changelog. Well, I'll let him say it.
The Google changelog.
Chrome is And I don't know if this is something to celebrate or something that could make you go, uh-oh. Switching to weekly security patch updates. I guess they had to.
Oh,
every week. So you were getting a new Chrome roughly every month. Now you're going to get new Chromes. Actually, it was every 6 weeks. Then it was 4 weeks. Now it's every 1 week. I guess you have to.
I'm not a developer, but does that mean that the users are beta testing this in the public, essentially?
No, I think Google's pretty good. I think these are security patches. I think Google's pretty. But what it really tells you is there are lots of 0 days.
Yeah.
And a browser is the very place that would happen, because that's the interface between your secure, safe enclave and the outside, dangerous outside world. It's the point of entry. And because browsers are designed to render a huge variety of content coming in from this dangerous place, anytime you have Steve Gibson talks about this, a content interpreter, things like your text message app or a browser, there's always a risk, because in effect that is a program that's running on data. And there's always a risk that the data could be malformed and cause a hack. So I think it's appropriate. But it just tells you how dangerous it is out there that Google feels this is necessary. We talked I think it was almost a year ago, about Google's plans to delete inactive accounts.
That's been a year? Wow.
They are going ahead with it. Accounts won't be deleted until December 1st, but you will start getting warnings. They will send multiple warning notifications. But wait a minute. You mean to the Gmail account I stopped using 5 years ago? They're going to send me a notification? Thank you. They will send it to backup emails if you provided one. You will have an 8-month window.
Did we do the changelog theme?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Where were you?
Wake up.
Sure. Were you eating waffles?
Were you grabbing a ho-ho?
Have a ho-ho.
Y'all, I realized someone just posted in the Discord the ho-hos. I was thinking of ding-dongs, y'all.
Yeah, I know you were.
Oh, so you're the one.
Yeah, it's your fault.
I am
ding-dong, Stacy.
Yeah,
our local, our local
you,
bakery, the best bakery, one of the best bakeries in the world, as Martha Stewart's favorite bakery. It's in many lists as the best bakery in America. Della Fattoria here makes a giant ho-ho. It's this big. You can get it and slice it, and ho-hos for miles. It's really good.
I think it's just it's a frosted Swiss roll is what it is.
It's really
right?
exactly what it is, yeah. And that's why they can, they just roll up the dough. We made my 20-year-old Michael for some reason came home and said, I want to make an ube cake. And it's a ho-ho. It's a purple ho-ho.
It's made with ube fruit.
Yeah, it's a purple ho-ho. And it was interesting, to say the least. No, you're a purple
Ringing
ho-ho.
endorsement.
Where was I? This new policy was announced back in May. I don't think it was May of this year. I feel like it was even before then. Anyway, saying it's intended to prevent security risks because older accounts are more likely to be insecure, rely on recycled passwords, not use two-factor, so they're more vulnerable to phishing and hacking and spam. The first accounts to be cut are those that were created then never revisited. I bet you Gmail has a million of those.
A ton of those. Everybody wanting to do burner accounts.
That's right. Right, and spam, all of that. So that makes sense. Remember, the brouhaha was over accounts with YouTube channels. People losing their YouTube
and they
channel.
want that back.
Yeah, that's an exception. Accounts with YouTube channels, remaining balances on a gift card. Keep a balance on your gift card.
Oh, that's the way to do it.
Those that have been used to purchase a digital item like a book or a movie, you've got the rights to that book or that movie. Or those that have published apps that are active on a platform like the Google Play Store will not be deleted.
Okay. I didn't remember any of that part.
Oh, you know what? This came out, this was in 2020. Google said users would have their content wiped from services they stopped using. That was when
but the YouTube stuff was more recent.
Everybody was, well, I don't know. It seems, I don't know. I've lost.
What do you have to do to prove to Google you're alive?
To save your account, all you need to do is log in, sign into your Google account or any Google service once every 2 years, and then do something, read an email or watch a video or perform a search. But if you're logged in and you do something, they go, oh, he's not dead. We thought he was dead. You look dead. Maybe he was just eating too many ho-hos. Google Messages, this is a big deal, now encrypts RCS end-to-end by default. Group chats as well. So that's a very big deal. Google's been pushing hard to get Apple to adopt RCS.
Bye-bye Google Messages in the UK soon.
What?
Because when the UK does its online safety bill,
that'll violate the
encryption is borked.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
I suspect that's why Google's making that announcement. They had first promised last year that the upgrade was on the way. The company first started rolling out end-to-end encryption for one-to-one messages in late 2020. Now it's for all messages, including group chats. So that's very good news. I don't think it'll convince Apple to adopt it, but anyway, if you're using Google Messages, I just set up a new Samsung phone, and I can never tell. There's a Samsung Messages app on here, and there's a Google Messages app on here, but I can never tell which is which. They're both called Messages,
right?
Messages and Messages. One
alphabetical order.
one has a green icon, and so what I want to do is set up in my default apps. I want to choose which Messages app I use for my SMS. Do I use Messages or Messages?
I think we should do a Marshall McLuhan, once to be Messages, once to be Massages.
Oh, Massages.
Yes.
So is
like charades and charades.
So maybe somebody in the chat room could tell me, is the one with the white icon with a blue thought bubble, or a blue icon
or
with
is that Facebook?
One looks like Facebook.
No.
I don't have
the
Facebook
top one
on here.
is Google.
That's
the top
Google.
one is the Google Messages.
You know that for a fact.
Scooter X,
I
confirm.
right
Scooter X.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be my default.
Scooter X knows.
I'm not going to use Samsung's. That would be silly. I'm going to use Google's.
Oh,
so there you go. Oh, look. My Samsung order just arrived. Oh, wait a minute. See, and I just pop it right in my pocket. Look at that. You don't even know I have a phone.
No,
I predict later tonight he's going to say, "Where's my phone? I can't remember where my phone is."
That's how I know you're old.
Yeah.
Gmail for Android and iOS is adding a translate feature. That's good, right?
Yeah.
Love that.
So you'll get if you get an email in a language you don't understand, you can translate it. Or more importantly, maybe you're writing to somebody in a language you don't speak, you can translate it.
That always makes me so nervous.
Yeah, you never know what it really says, do you?
Okay, Google, please do this correctly.
Yeah. And even though it was only launched a month and a half ago, and of course I bought it at full cost, $4.99, Google has now discounted its Pixel tablet.
Shocking. Shocking.
It's only $60 off. $439 for the 128 gig model.
How do you like it? Do you use it?
No. I should never have bought it.
Can I have an "I told you so" sticker? I mean, my goodness.
You were right.
Mr. Joe Esposito, you on it?
Stacy told me
I should be waggling my finger.
Well, and it's not. Frankly, it's just as you said. It's not as good.
Oh, we need a waggle sticker, please, folks. Waggle sticker. No, you can't smile. No, you got to do it without smiling, Stacy.
You've heard of bobbleheads? This is Stacy's bobble finger. Why don't they make bobble fingers?
With her lip wrist, yeah.
Yeah.
Weak wrist.
What was it? Weak wrist, yeah.
Floppy wrist.
Floppy wrist.
Floppy, that's right. Floppy finger.
In any event, the problem is with it, just as you said, Stacy. So I have the Nest Hub Max, which looks exactly the same. It's not detachable. It's not a tablet, and it works. And I can talk to it, and it does everything. Every once in a while, the Google tablet will say, "Well, that's fine, but you got to enter your password before I'll do anything." Because it's a tablet.
Oh, because it's a tablet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Not useful.
That's interesting.
Not helpful, Google. Okay, well, that's my Google changelog, but guess what? It's now time for Scooter X's Google changelog.
That'll take about 2 years.
There's a lot in here, Scooter.
Yes, well, you make fun of me. Scooter X does it just for the changelog.
California regulators will decide the future of Waymo in San Francisco and Cruise, too. That's the GM self-driving
vehicles. CPUC will debate tomorrow to determine whether Cruise and Waymo will be allowed to operate.
How visible are they when you go down there?
Everywhere. Everywhere. And they're slowly expanding the range of where they go. And they seem to work all right. They don't get in many accidents. The worst they do is they hold up traffic or they congregate or, but people don't.
Or people find ways to
cones on their noses. It's funny because Alex Kantrowitz, who does a big technology blog and podcast, was just on, I think, CNBC saying it's only a matter of time and not very long at all before self-driving vehicles are everywhere. And I think this may not be the case.
Whoops.
No. Well, I also put up, of course, this is also Elon's really, really bad execution of it. Wall Street Journal did a whole thing on the video of how dangerous Elon's are. You want to regulate technology? People regulate Elon's self-driving.
Well, that's up to NHTSA. That's the National Highway Transportation and Safety Administration, which makes those rules, and they really do need to be a little bit tougher, I think, on self-driving vehicles. So Cruise and Waymo offer limited commercial service in San Francisco if, according to TechCrunch, the CPUC votes tomorrow to grant final permits. The two companies will be able to charge for rides, expand hourly operations, expand the service area, and add an unlimited number of robo-taxis to their fleets. They're already everywhere in San Francisco. A no vote would delay, if not completely derail, Cruise and Waymo's plan to launch commercial operations in California. They are, of course, in other places, Phoenix chiefly, the big one, and Arizona seems to have been very positive and favorable towards self-driving cabs. That will be interesting. We'll watch that with interest. That's tomorrow. What else in the Scooter exchange? Holy cow.
You make fun of me.
Let's see. I did that one. Google Calendar rolls out Material You widget redesign.
No, we don't know. We never care about material. No, don't do material.
YouTube will stop showing videos on the homepage if your watch history is off. Actually, I didn't put this in the changelog. It's a big story, I think. If you turn watch history off and go to your YouTube homepage, you're just going to get like a blank page. Just the search bar up top, the navigation menu on the side.
Be careful what you wish for. It's what you ask for.
This will be mobile and web.
No recommendations.
Starting today, Google writes, this is on the YouTube support page, if you have YouTube watch history off and have no significant prior watch history, features that require watch history to provide video recommendations will be disabled, like your YouTube home feed. What could possibly go wrong?
Joe, go.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm disappointed, Joe, we don't have a Stacy Waggle. Oh, that's good. That's
you
good.
Look very worried.
Good one, Joe.
We're talking our stickers.
No.
I want Club Twit stickers.
Yes.
Very nice. Joe Esposito does those. Right, Joe Esposito?
Yes, that's it.
Joe says you'll get the Waggy Vigor.
He's working on the Waggy.
Post. What's the video post? Okay,
Yeah.
Joe.
Oh, Joe, you're
You
so
have to make
Too
an
much motion
animated
blur.
gotta be a
GIF.
GIF.
Yeah. So if you want to play with
Oh,
this,
no.
try
You know
it.
what I want? That Chinese doll where it goes back and forth.
Oh, like
I
the
want
Lucky
that to
Cat?
be the Stacy Wag. Yeah,
It doesn't go that
Almost
way. It
Lucky
goes this
Cat.
way. Yeah. It throws.
Stacy
it's like it's
goes
throwing
this
poop
way.
at you.
Stacy goes this way. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I told you.
Best Buy will soon offer Google Pixel repairs at select stores. Actually, this is Scooter X's badge. Google wants have some more. Google wants iPhone switchers to know it's all good on Android. We showed that yesterday on MacBreak Weekly. There's an ad now Google's doing. It's okay. It's okay. You could shift from iPhone. You're going to be happy. Google's working with Mongolia to provide Chromebooks to all its students.
Where are you
do
finding
find
those
these?
stuff, man?
Now he's trying too hard.
All right. And that's the Google changelog.
Wow.
And NX.
End scene.
Wow, dude.
I'm exhausted. All right. Let's see. Is there, have we done, I feel like there might be, WeWork. How about this? WeWork says there is substantial doubt we'll stay in business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is not surprising.
I'm going to run out and buy some
substantial doubt
stock.
about 5 years ago, too.
This
But
barely qualifies as news.
If you can make your grift work for just a few years and then the venture capitalists can get their they'll give you more money. I mean, Adam Newman now has money for
Billions.
his new apartment venture.
Billions. He's done so well. Watch that WeWork TV show. It's really good with Jared Leto as Adam Newman and his wife is played by Anne Hathaway. She's really good in it.
I decided not to watch it because it's just frustrating.
Network.
Apple? Is it Apple or?
I thought it was HBO.
I read the book.
I thought it was Max.
Oh yeah, the book's really good too. Yeah, it's amazing. It's. I don't think. Is it still this way? Do you think, Stacey? Is there?
Yes. It has been this way since I started covering technology.
Yeah. Let's see.
Here's a question for you. Because we talked about once in a while about a different scale for the future of the internet, Mastodon, smaller, and all that. I'll put it stupidly. Do VCs necessarily screw up an idea in a company?
Here's the deal. And I have believed this since the very beginning of coming to work in media that was VC funded. VC funding makes sense for certain businesses. The problem is so much money went into, the bigger problem is people wanted massive VC returns, so they invested, in LPs that could then invest in VCs. So there was a ton of money that went into this because they got returns for investing in businesses that legitimately scaled. Like if you come up with a cool chip design and you replicate it across 1 billion chips and you can sell those, it makes a lot of sense. And that's capital intensive upfront.
Yes.
What happened is we decided that every business can scale and it makes sense, even if it's and they took the idea that you can be unprofitable at the beginning and get to scale and then become profitable. But that doesn't actually work for every business. But then what happened when they realized that, they were like, well, we'll just take it public or we'll sell it to our friends in private equity for a massive amount of money. And so the problem is you still saw awesome returns, even if a business wasn't actually financially sustainable for the long term, right? And so, and once you start making those outsized returns, people give you more money. And then now we've got this huge money cycle that is not funding businesses that can actually perform at scale and make money. Look at Uber. Uber is still losing money.
No, they made money last quarter.
Nope. Last quarter. You missed that story last week.
They finally made money. I'm so sorry.
And Stephen Levy.
Okay now, Stacey.
Stephen Levy, we talked about this last week. Stephen Levy is interviewing Dara Khosrowshahi. And say it for me, will you, Jeff? You know how to say it.
I can.
Khosrowshahi.
I've got to look at it.
That sounds about right.
Khosrowshahi, something like that. And
I think you're
Dara. I'll just call him Dara, the CEO. And I'm sorry, we got another sticker. Just in. This is like the election night. We've got breaking news from West Virginia. The Scooter X change log. Oh, Scooter is not going to be happy about that. Oh no, there's a guy dumpster diving for stories.
At least it's not on fire.
So Uber CEO Dara was being interviewed by Stephen Levy, and Levy mentioned that in order to get here from Brooklyn, he had to take a 2-mile Uber ride and it cost him $52.
Right, it's crazy.
And Dara was so shocked, his normal composure went away, and he said, "Oh my God, that's awful." But that's the secret to why apparently Uber's gotten much more expensive than Lyft.
Yep, it is.
And that has been a new. That has been something that VCs do. They basically come in and lost lead on a product, and then they jack up prices.
Turn it around. Yeah.
It's part of Corey's NSification cycle.
Yep.
In certification.
Did you know you could still get a red envelope with a DVD in it from Netflix?
No, you don't.
Really? Yeah, you could, but not much longer. They're finally winding down their DVD business after 25 years.
You know how we get these stories about how a library...
Wait a minute, this is from April. I'm sorry. How did this get into my box?
How did that get in there? I didn't put it in there.
Well, it's getting closer. The deadline is September 29th. The last red envelope.
We're going to see stories in 50 years where somebody finds an envelope of Weekend at Bernie's, and after 50 years... They sent it in to an address at Netflix. Isn't this funny?
You do see stories every once in a while. This
200-year-old library book is now being returned for a $15 million fine. That kind of thing. You do see that, I have to say.
Yeah.
Has anybody had a Mr. Beast burger?
Negative.
Mr. Beast is, of course, the #1 guy on YouTube. And
that picture says, I don't want to try it.
Oh, I got a worse one. So,
really?
So this is from Kotaku. I accidentally ordered burgers from a YouTuber. He didn't know who Mr. Beast was. He just said it sounded good.
Yeah.
But Mr. Beast had contracted with a company that specialized in pop-up restaurants. They would go to Buca di Beppo and Brio Italian Grill.
Good on him. Good on him.
Make a Mr. Beast burger. Here's the recipe. Stick a Mr. Beast feast on the sticker on the bag. You see it's just a regular brown paper bag with a sticker on it. And deliver it, and you're going to get more business, and Mr. Beast is going to make lots and lots
Good on him. Hey.
of money. The problem...
Well,
I'm not saying I'm buying it, but
here's
quality control.
Mike Fahey, who also writes for Kotaku, says, I also accidentally ordered a burger from a YouTuber. And wait till you... This is what it looks like on the web. The Mr. Beast burger is supposed to be a smash burger with crispy edges and all this stuff. Wait till you see what he got. This is what he got. The caption on this, what the watery hell is this? In any event, Mr. Beast shut the whole thing down because the quality was QC. Very out of control.
And they're suing each other. Now, he in turn is being sued.
Mr. Beast now faces a $100 million lawsuit from the company Virtual Dining Concepts that he contracted to do this. $100 million. He probably can pay it.
Yeah.
That's the amazing thing.
Yeah, it's in his couch cushion.
He's suing them because he wants to get out of the deal. They're suing because he said... Because they say Mr. Beast is a social media celebrity who believes his fame means he can break contracts and say anything.
That's just typical countersuing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, though, there have been many, many negative reviews. Mr. Beast started the whole problem at the beginning of this month, August 1st, suing VDC, saying they didn't care about quality, wanted to get out of the deal. VDC
and that's
said,
fair on this part. So again, good on him. It was good on him for the idea and good on him for saying, you know what, hey, this got my name on it.
I don't know good on him for the idea. That's really just saying, I don't give a damn what these things are.
Several shows ago, like in the middle of the pandemic, when he did this, we were like, we actually did a story on this because this is the only way I know about this happening. Because we were like, that's pretty creative. And it is to say, hey, and I think initially people were excited about the burgers and they were good.
Oh, yeah.
The dude knows he's a brand. Heck. People go nuts for In-N-Out burgers over here. Why not?
The story we did was of how Mr. Beast caused chaos at a New Jersey mall by offering opening a Mr. Beast official burger. Look at all these people in the mall going to the store, because he's got a restaurant now.
All he sees is more revenue for Mr. Beast LLC right there. That's all.
Lemmings to the French fryer, man. Jeez.
I claim I am a broke college student and I want a free Beast burger.
He is a businessman.
He knows how to, you know what his real skill is? He knows how to work the YouTube algorithm. And he says it freely. And tells people how to do it. He says, when I was in high school, I got together with my buddies and we really broke it down, trying to figure out what the algorithm was and how to beat it. And he did. He figured it out.
Good on him.
Curiosity rover has found, quote, striking evidence of habitable seasons on Mars. They always said Mars had canals, right?
Oh, they did?
Yeah, but that was just, because we
could. Elon can move there now.
Yeah. But they're actually, you see this pattern of kind of hexagonal pattern? Actually
looks like eczema.
It looks like eczema or mud flats. You ever see mud flats?
Mars needs a little lotion.
Yes. Scientists have concluded the patterns are cracks formed by regular episodes of, get this, flooding and drying, a natural phenomenon known to be extremely conducive to life here on Earth.
I wonder if Mr. Powell will talk about this on his show.
I bet you.
This Week in Space.
I bet you. Yeah. I should have made this my pick of the week, but are you a fan of The Expanse? I know you are, John, right?
Never tried it.
There's a website called Prop Store Auction where the props from TV shows get auctioned off. This is The Expanse online auction. It started yesterday.
The jumpsuits.
Yes. Here's Julie Mao's Scopuli coveralls with plasma torch and accessories. This too could be yours for just $300. Actually, the current bid's only $275. 19 days left in the bidding, though. It might go up. James Holden's bloody Barattness gas coveralls and Eros Station police armor and helmet. Wouldn't you love that, huh?
Okay.
You'd have to have like a...
I don't love it that much. I'll just be real.
Okay, how about Amos Burton's badge and accessories? I actually kind of like this one, and it's not too expensive. It's just a few $100. His coffee cup, his badge, P&K Canterbury Executive Officer, and his ID cards. How about that, James Holden's ID cards? Nate and I guards, ID card. Sure. How about that? This is probably the very same cup that he scraped the match residue into to make his coffee taste better. I'm just saying.
Boy, buyer's remorse is waiting on the other end of that.
What do I do with this now?
You bought that, honey?
For $700?
All I see is
that's a no.
All I see is passionate cosplay folks all over this. And
Yeah.
Why not?
Also, probably could have been a pick of the week. Google has announced something called Project IDX. It's a development environment on the web only, and it's cross-platform. It'll allow you to run emulators for both iOS and Android. IDX.dev. I immediately asked for an invite, but I have not received one yet. But interesting revelation. I didn't know this, but Paul Thurrott did a little digging, and this online-only develop in the cloud, cross-platform, uses Microsoft's VS Code
Whoops.
as its back end.
Okay.
Anyway, you can run VS Code or its open source version, Code OSS, as a server, and then log in from your browser anywhere and do pretty much the same thing. I guess this uses Google's AI, that's its version of GitHub Copilot called Cody, that will help you write the code as well.
Is it common for people to use cloud-based development environments?
Yes
I
and
you
no.
have to have some local performance.
No, even because the compiler is running in the cloud, it's probably okay, especially for the kinds of apps you'd write with this, which are web-based.
Okay.
But it's particularly of value if you're doing collaborative coding.
Okay.
So I'm writing it and you're writing it, and we're not in the same room,
right.
Or we're doing pair programming, or you're doing reviews. And then there are people move around a lot, or hybrid work people and stuff. It's better than having it all on this laptop. You have it in the cloud and you can access it from any laptop. So there's a use case for it, sure. You and I, if we were going to write code, we'd probably just do it on our local machines. Be like editing photos, I guess, in the cloud. Be kind of similar to that. Do you ever do that?
No, I'm a solo guy. Yeah. I don't like people.
No.
The $5 billion, the $5 billion. None of us like people. That's why we're podcasting.
I think Jeff likes people.
Yeah.
Do you like?
No, actually, no. They don't like me either. No.
So it's basically a bunch of troubled loners doing.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, I'm not troubled. I am a loner, though.
Untroubled.
You dare say I am.
That I'm troubled.
Untroubled loners.
But I am a loner. Totally happy.
You've heard the name Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers before. She's hearing yet another case against Google. This is the incognito mode in
That's
Google.
back?
$5 billion lawsuit. Google asked for summary judgment saying, Your Honor, just throw this out. Of course, the whole issue was you go into incognito mode and you're still being tracked by Google. It's just your spouse can't see what you're doing. And they had big text that said that and so forth. However, Judge Rogers said, no. There were statements in the Chrome privacy notice, the privacy policy, the incognito splash screen, and the search and browse privately help page about how incognito mode, quote, limits the information stored or how people can control the information they share, writing, quote, taken as a whole, a triable issue exists as to whether these writings created an enforceable promise that Google would not collect users' data while they browsed privately. So the lawsuit was filed in 2020, seeking $5 billion in damages, and it is now going to go ahead. Okay.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, me too. Couple of passings we should note in passing. The woman who really created Consumer Reports, led them for decades, Rhoda Karpatkin, has passed at the age of 93. She was the executive director of Consumers Union, changed the name to Consumer Reports, published the magazine, expanded its readership and its influence in Washington. A very important consumer advocate for many.
Personal hero.
Was on the board for many years.
You know, my first non-journalist, so I had to take a PR job in college because my journalism professor was like, Stacey, you really should know how the other side is. So I was like, oh, this feels awful. So I worked for the Texas office of Consumers Union for a semester.
Oh.
And I remember being shocked that press release quotes were manufactured by interns like myself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
oh, yeah.
It was fun advocating for health insurance for children and giving eyeglasses or eye ophthalmologists, making sure people could take their eyeglass prescription on the go because neither of those things were possible in Texas before that time.
Consumers Union did a lot of good. Under her leadership, subscriptions to the magazine more than doubled to 4.3 million. In 2000, they created what was then the largest pay website, 350,000 subscribers. I was and am one of them. She also raised $40 million to build Consumer Union's headquarters in Yonkers and an automobile testing track. So she will be missed. R.I.P. Rhoda, I said Rhonda, Rhoda Karpatkin. And also, geeks will know the name Bram Molinar. He's the author of Vim. Created Vim. Vim, it was a takeoff on VI, which was an early text editor widely used. Vim was much improved and widely used everywhere. It became, for instance, the default text editor on, I think it was Ubuntu. Yeah. And many other Linux distros. He was a young man, passed at the age of 62. He had been, according to his family, suffering from a serious medical condition that progressed quickly over the last few weeks. So the father of Vim, who was much beloved in the open source community, Bram Molinar, dead at 62. All right. I think this would be a good time for us to change gears and get our picks of the week in here. And then you know what comes after picks of the week?
Waffle time, baby.
Waffles. But before we do,
more enthusiastic.
Give me a waffle. Give me a waffle.
You're not getting this back.
I'll show you enthusiasm.
You already gave it to me. It's mine now, dude.
All right. I lost my waffle. You know, if I only had people donating $7 a month to me on a regular basis, I probably could afford my own waffles.
You could get your own waffle.
Actually, I want to be very clear. No, not one penny of the money that you give as a subscriber to Club Twit goes into my pocket. And you know how you know that? I haven't been paid for 3 months. But, so there. But it does go into the pockets of you and you and you and you, and it keeps the lights on, and it keeps the cameras whirring, and it lets us develop new programming. If you like what we do here at Twit, it makes a big difference. And we give you benefits, I think, that well justify $7 a month. First of all, you'll not see any more ads, ever. All of our shows ad-free and tracker-free because you're giving us $7 a month that we don't need to monetize you. You also get shows that we don't put out anywhere else. The club finances shows like Hands on Macintosh with Micah Sargent, Hands on Windows with Paul Thurrott, Jonathan Bennett's Untitled Linux show, The Giz Fizz with Dick D. Bartolo. We just brought back Scott Wilkinson's Home Theater Geeks, thanks to club members. Thank you, club members. This Week in Space, Rod Pyle's show, started in the club and launched, if you will, into public, and that's our goal, is to use it to generate new shows. We also have bits and pieces from shows that aren't parts of regular podcasts. For instance, the unboxing and setup of the new Galaxy Z Flip 5. That's a club member.
Done right before the show.
Exclusive, yes.
Yep.
Right here.
Or the times I decided to take a look at Joe Esposito's terrible photos in a photo critique.
Photo critiques. You and I are going to do a photo walk end of the month. I'm looking forward to that.
That's correct.
Stacy's book club's coming up end of the month. Lots of good stuff we do in the club. It's a great place. We also have access to the Discord, which is a wonderful hang for everybody who's a member of the club. Funny thing, people who support Twit are nice people, and it's great to hang out with them. Who would have thunk? So if you're not a member, please, twit.tv/clubtwit. We would love to have you. $7 a month, $84 a year. There are family memberships. There are corporate memberships. And we appreciate each and every one of our great Club Twit members. Thank you. Now time for our picks of the week. Stacey Higginbotham, give us a pick of the week. She's pasting it in, even as we speak.
I have one this week. So I've been talking a lot on the show about smart home energy management. And as part of that, I was like, oh, what can I tell people about how to set up your own house? So I wrote a little how-to about your first steps. But as part of that, I tried SmartThings Energy. This isn't going to work for everybody. So I'm just telling you that right now. But SmartThings has an energy management program, and if you're already a SmartThings user,
it's not working for me. I have a blank website right now. Let me refresh this here.
Well, that's weird.
There it goes right. Wait a minute, let me do it again. It goes right off the page. It starts, and then it goes zoop. Anyway,
Chromebook.
This is from Samsung,
Keep scrolling.
Right? This is from Samsung.
This is from Samsung.
Okay.
So it's SmartThings. And what this is, if you have SmartThings and you install the SmartThings Energy app, what it will do is it will look at devices that are supported and show you how much energy they're using.
Oh.
And this is just a way to start monitoring this. So if you already have it in your SmartThings system, it'll automatically start pulling this in. You can also tie it back to some demand response programs, but not too many just yet. They're adding more. And if you have some Samsung's appliances, you could actually use this to turn on greater energy savings mode in your washer and dryer, for example.
Oh, I do. I have Samsung washer and dryer. I do.
Yeah, right. So this is free. It's a fun little tool. I think what's going to happen is, I really believe, because we've got this trilemma of energy issues coming towards us, which is we're electrifying everything, but we're seeing more instability in the grid as we move to renewables. And then we're also seeing issues with power outages because of climate change and issues there. What's happening is we're trying to piecemeal together a grid that is both smarter, a little bit more resilient with backup energy power in the home, and maybe in more electric consumption in the home from electrification of appliances. So all that happening means we're going to have to make the whole system smarter. And you're seeing this week, GM just said, hey, if you buy our big old trucks, you can power your house using these batteries in our trucks, which is pretty cool, right? And you're going to need software to manage that. And this is one of the early kind of versions of software to help manage that. So.
This seems like a very good idea. I often think that IoT devices are not particularly energy hoarding. Are they? I mean, I think these little devices they don't use a lot of energy.
No. Most of they don't use a lot of energy. The benefit of the IoT there is the smarts and the communication factor.
Yeah.
So it's if you have a smart breaker panel, which because of the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure bill, they're actually state PUCs are
you get a
building
benefit.
Programs to incentivize people to buy these kind of smart breaker panels. And with something like that, you could say, hey, when my power is out and I only have my GM truck to power my house, only turn on the following circuits. And you're going to need software to manage that, because no human being's going to be like, okay, I want to let my, I don't know what's, yeah. You don't want to manually do that. You want to be like, okay, let's prioritize my refrigerator and my outlets in the kitchen because I need coffee and to charge my phone when there's a power outage. And you'll be able to do that. Anyway.
It's funny that you should mention that because that was one of the stories I decided not to include for reasons of time, which is that GM has announced that they are going to make all of its new Ultium-based EVs power the house. So Ford does that right now with their Lightning. Yeah. You've got a big battery and the power goes out in the house. You could just plug in your car and power the house. It's kind of cool.
For how long?
Well, it depends how big the battery is.
Yeah,
and how much power you
not
use.
forever.
No.
But,
Wasn't the Lightning doing that as well?
Mm-hmm.
The Lightning also does it. And like we get winter storms that'll knock power out for like a day, sometimes even 2 days here on the island. And we keep the Tesla charged in the winter because we can power our phones from it. We can't do anything else, but
Does it has an AC plug, is that why?
It has a USB plug. Yeah. It's not like is it an inverter? It's not
an inverter.
Yeah.
We have Tesla Powerwalls, which are basically recycled Tesla batteries packaged up, and the reason is we live in a rural area and there's no our pump is electric, so we'd have no water when the power goes out, no showers, no toilets, nothing, and that's pretty important.
We have a gas.
Yeah, we're on a well too, and our pump and our
no toilet for you.
Yeah.
Oh no, you get one flush, and you can always dump a bucket.
One flush.
The bucket trick.
Yeah. It's kind of the story of this show, isn't it?
The bucket trick or the one flush?
Either one.
He's at the end of his week.
Yeah, I am at the end of my week. Which explains my pick of the week, the Sad Bastard Cookbook.
I was afraid this was Hank's title.
Food? No.
It wasn't his.
I'm practicing for when Hank's cookbook comes out later this year. His is not a Sad Bastards. This one is free, which is great. You can download it. It's just
cool.
It's just sad because, if you are a sad son of a gun, food you can make so you don't die is the subtitle. And you'll see if you look at it, you kind of maybe wish you were dead. Ramen variations 1, 2, and 3, kind of like pad thai. Literal depression cooking. Pasta in a rice cooker. I mean, this is grim, but it's actually really good. And I think for the hard heads, going out and starting their life, learning, about God tier ingredients like garlic and how to take that instant ramen, which every college kid lives on, and make it something.
College hardhead has been impressing me with his cooking skills.
Good.
Being resourceful.
Good. It is available for free for download. Pasta with homemade tomato sauce. Yeah.
That reminds me of Mr. Victor, our editor, putting daggum ketchup on his burrito.
No, he didn't. But he got
serious.
the California burrito with French fries, I hope.
I don't know. You don't put
Even
ketchup
that's
on
a
a
terrible
daggum
idea.
burrito. Come on.
Oh,
Come
God,
on,
no.
man.
Oh, who did that? No. Banish them. Who did that?
Our editor, Mr.
Victor
Victor.
Bognot.
Victor. Now he's going to edit this out because he's ashamed. He's not going to want the world to know. He's going to have the power of editing.
It's from Traum Books, TRAUM books.itch.io. The sad, I bet if you Googled the Sad Bastard Cookbook, and you can buy a printed version from mybook.to/Sad Bastard.
When is Hank's coming out?
They just finished the photo shoot. I think they're doing, the whatever that thing is, that production thing, and I would guess it's going to be out in before Christmas, right? November.
Oh,
yeah,
good for him.
Yeah, if you're going to put out a cookbook, you don't wait until.
Do you know his
February.
publisher? I've asked you, but you didn't know.
No, I still don't know.
Good on him.
Still don't know.
Somebody with deep pockets. I hope. Jeff, do you have a number for us?
Let's see here. Which one should I do? I think I'll do this one because I want to hear what our the real man among us, Ant, says about this.
What?
So, the sports fan, the real sports fan. So ESPN strikes $2 billion sports betting deal with Penn Entertainment.
This is very frustrating.
Problematic, man.
That's what I wanted to hear about. Yeah. I mean, ESPN is desperate as a business. Disney is rather desperate with all of its video stuff. Sports betting is legal and can be done, but the irony of it is that you want your own fans, your own viewers to lose their money. Barstool Sports was part of the brand. They literally gave Barstool back to its founder after he made some huge amount of money.
So they paid more than $500 million in 2020 to David Portnoy for Barstool Sports. Another one of those gosh darn podcast acquisitions that just made me really jealous. And then to top it all off, they decide, this didn't work out. They're giving it back to him for free. Their only condition is if you sell it, we want 50% of the proceeds. But they can't even be bothered to sell it. They're just giving it back to him. Go ahead, do whatever you want. Unbelievable. But I'm with you. I don't like, I think of Pete Rose, who was banned from the Hall of Fame forever for betting on baseball games.
Exactly.
One of the great players of all time. And now the NFL.
It's quite hypocritical.
Yeah, they're all getting into sports betting. And I don't think it's good for, frankly, America. I think there are people who have severe gambling problems and making it so easy to gamble.
The number of gambling commercials on cable here is just amazing. MGM Casino and all that. So now ESPN, and here's my question. Do you think that's going to affect the coverage where they're going to have to do more about covering spreads and stuff? Do they already do that? I don't know. I don't watch ESPN.
I don't know if they will do that. My concern is, we've already had conspiracy theories about games being fixed. There have actually been some legit cases of referees jumping in and fixing certain games, such as in the NBA, and the referee was charged. Now you're throwing gambling in there that's quote-unquote legalized now because ESPN is the mothership of sports. Could we see more of this fixing out there, all in the name of covering the spread? That's a problem.
Hi, this is Benito, and I do watch ESPN. I'm for NBA, and they do cover a lot of gambling already on there. They already give you odds on games and products.
Absolutely.
And things like that,
absolutely.
But is that Benito? That's moderately recent. I mean,
it's brand new
since gambling.
The station that I worked at for years in San Francisco, KGO, was the #1 news talk station for 2 decades. Cumulus, its owners, turned it into a sports gambling station about 6 months ago. Fired everybody.
Wow.
And it's all about sports gambling.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
The funny thing is, I think they did it because there was an initiative in California.
There was a bill here that didn't pass.
Didn't pass. To make sports gambling legal. It's not legal in California right now.
Right.
And, not except at the racetrack and some select venues, but you can't do it online.
Right.
And I think they thought, this is going to be a land grab as soon as that thing passes, and it didn't pass.
Yeah.
But, no, it's gone crazy in America, and DraftKings and FanDuel. And really the reason ESPN bought Barstool is they wanted to take the Barstool audience. It wasn't a betting platform. It was videos and podcasts, kind of a younger audience. They wanted to take that audience and turn them into bettors. And it didn't work. So they said, never mind, do something else. We're going to do something else.
I mean, for me, this really came to a head when teams started moving to Vegas. I was like, okay, this is over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I bet you 5-1 that the Oakland Raiders
5-1.
I'll give you 5-1. Yeah.
Let's do the over/under.
There's another. By the way, there's another story, and we won't go into it here. But if you listen to Mac Break Weekly, it's fascinating about college football. I know you're really into college football.
Yeah, what's happening right here in our own backyard with the Pacific 12 Pac-12 conference is pretty sad.
It used to be Pac-12. It's Pac-4 now.
I remember when it was Pac-8 and all of that and the expansion, and now it's only 4 teams left. And I know this is not a sports show, but it pisses me off that conference has now put those student athletes in a pretty craptastic position.
And it all started because Apple TV was trying to buy the rights.
Which I still think was a dumb idea. Apple shouldn't have been involved in that. That's a premium product.
Well, they have Major League Soccer, and they've got a pretty good deal there, and they hope to make a lot of money on it.
Everybody on the planet watches Major League Soccer. Everybody in the U.S. don't watch Pac-12 football.
Yeah. That was the hope, was to make them watch it.
I'm not going to do that.
They were offering the colleges $23 million, but it would have gone up had people subscribed. There were additional tiers.
Right.
And at one point, if 3.5 million people subscribed, they would make almost as much money as the Big Ten teams make, or the Southeastern SEC makes.
Yeah.
And that's big money for
it is.
For teams like Clemson.
I don't think it would have gotten there, but
could have.
Yeah.
what happened was the college presidents, a number of them said, "Nah, screw it," and they left. They left the conference and went to the Big Ten
in Big 12.
How many is the Big Ten now?
I think the Big Ten is now 14 teams or 16. It's up there now.
There's a number. I like the Pac-4. it's
but
Cal,
the problem
it's Stanford, and I don't know who else it is. UCLA. I don't know.
It's Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford only remaining Pac-12 teams.
And that's right. It hurts the athletes. And but the money would have not gone to athletes. Let's put
that's the thing.
It goes to the colleges, and it doesn't even go to the college's education.
No, it goes to football. It goes to the program. Is the driving piece in this because of all the revenues it pulls in. But at the same time, that volleyball team or that baseball team at Oregon that ends up having to play Maryland on a Wednesday night for a volleyball game or a baseball game, that's horrible for a student.
Yeah.
And then expect them to be back at class the next day on Thursday or Friday. That's bull.
I'm not a huge college football fan. I grew up watching college football, but kind of lost interest with the NFL. But this is an amazing story. And it goes beyond college football. It really talks about how streaming and the media environment has really changed everything. The money Apple TV's bringing to the table. And really...
But streaming's not a good business.
Well, so they say. I mean,
so they say.
I noticed David Zaslav flew to the Allen and Company confab in a private jet. Is he making enough money? I guess. I don't know. Somebody said Bob Iger's making. Oh yeah, I know who it was.
Iger's making a ton of money.
$78,000 a day. $78,000 a day. But he says, "Oh, we can't afford to pay
these
people.
writers."
Yeah. Who was it? Just lost his apartment. I was just
really?
Yeah.
I was told that too.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, it's very sad. Very sad. And the point it was Kinky Boots.
Right.
What's his name? I can't remember his name now. Anyway, it was a very sad story. He, he says, for the people who are rich enough, Billy Porter, for the people who are rich enough that they've made it and they don't have to care anymore, that's fine. But most actors, most SAG members are not in that position. Right. And he says, I'm going to have to sell my house now because I won't, the big movie that I was going to work on this fall is gone.
Yeah.
And I'm going out of business in effect.
Isn't it like 80-something% are below the poverty line in SAG?
Yeah. You don't do it to become rich. You do it because you love to act, you love the art, you love to entertain. A few people get very rich, but most don't.
I mean, it's like poets don't make money.
It's all of the arts.
About two of the arts.
It's all
the arts. Well said, Mr. Benito. All the arts.
Benito is a filmmaker. He knows. That's why he's here working for a living. Sorry, Benito.
Would you like whipped cream with that waffle?
Benito is an artist. He's a musician. He's a filmmaker. He's a real artist. But unfortunately, we don't reward the arts particularly here. And we love our content.
Yeah. But we don't want to pay for it.
I think Stacy has passed out. So let's get Ant's thing and... we'll move on.
I went to get water during the sports segment. I'm so sorry.
And it was brief. And it was brief, too. I was quick on that one,
Not brief enough, apparently.
Wow. My pick here is, Miss Stacy was talking about this awesome smart home stuff and whatnot. And I tell you, you can keep that smart home stuff and you can spend the best $9 you can spend right here on Amazon.
Not a dryer drum belt replacement?
You spend that $9 and that thing will last you a decade. I'll tell you that right.
Wait a minute, you don't wait till it fails. You want to replace it.
You replace it.
How often?
Well, a decade plus or so. I'm joking, by the way. I only put this in.
You can get 4 for $22.99. Replace them all.
I only put this in here just because I recently bought one. Because my dryer is probably about 15, 16 years old. Because I refuse to buy a smart one. And when something breaks, I just fix it. And that was the last thing to break recently. Sorry. Just had to throw that in there.
Can you come to my place?
That's a humble brag. That's a humble brag. He knows how to fix a dryer.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
This is like when Kevin's HVAC went down, and he was like, "Let me just look and see what happened." And it was just a bad capacitor, so he ordered a capacitor on Amazon and replaced it.
Yeah, why not?
How did he? Wait a minute.
They swell.
Wait a minute.
How did he know it was?
How did he know it was a bad capacitor?
Because they swell.
Because it was, it was
see
melted to the
You
board.
could see it.
Yeah, you'll see it, and it swells up.
And he was able to just pull it out and put in a new one?
Yeah. When something breaks.
I've thought about doing it myself.
Leo, you slug.
Seriously, when something breaks, pull it open and look at it. Maybe you can fix it.
Yeah.
And then go Google it.
Or, in my case, maybe you can break it worse and make it, and make it cost even more to fix.
Look, we had to buy a washing machine 2 years ago for the first time in over a decade.
Those things are ridiculous.
Even you couldn't fix it?
Well, because the motor died. I had already fixed the gears on the transmission, but this time the motor died. And
Jesus.
Do you change your own oil on your washing machine?
If I had to, I would.
Can you tune the spark plugs?
If I had to, I would.
So we went out and I bought, because you told me to, a piston.
Oh, yeah.
For my steel case chair. And I even asked this several times, isn't it a proprietary part? And everybody said, no, they're all the same on all chairs and up and down. You just replace the piston.
Right.
It's a proprietary part. And yeah, you could put it in, but you can't make the chair go up and down now. You have to have a special part.
I thought Mr. Jammerby fixed that for you.
He fixed it, but it doesn't go up and down.
Well, you don't want it to go up.
I know. If it's the right height, I'm going to take it home.
You're good.
If it's the right height, I'll take it. If it's not.
That's for a very short person, that chair where it's set.
Bring it into Twit.
I love that.
Burke will fix it.
Burke will fix it. That's the universal answer right there.
Burke, by the way, who went to school to be an artist. That Burke. He is fixing my chair. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Well, thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. We love doing this week in Google, as you can tell. You'll find Stacey Higginbotham all week long at staceyoniot.com. She and Kevin Toffel do an excellent podcast called the Internet of Things Podcast. That's at staceyoniot.com. Subscribe to her newsletter. Check out all the events and buy everything her sponsors recommend. Woohoo! Because it's good stuff.
I don't know if everyone's in the market for like a low power wide area network or.
Well, they should be. They just should be.
It's a little niche.
I'm always impressed. You do a great job with this site, I have to say, and the podcast, because I love Kevin too. Thank you, Stacey, for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you to Mr. Jeff Jarvis. You all know him as I know him as. Let's see, I know him as the human DDoS, trapped in the jungle gym of life.
I don't even remember that one.
And a certified big guy, Ray Kroc, called him a nickel millionaire. But you might know him as the director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Thank you for being here.
I'm just there in my pigeon roost.
Yes. And of course, get the book, Gutenberg.com. It's the inspiration for Gutenberg the musical. If you, yeah, they just stole it.
I'll sing next week.
Yeah,
the theme song.
Yeah, actually, you probably don't want to be known as the inspiration for Gutenberg the musical, since it's an intentionally bad musical.
But I do want to try to find a way to hitch my wagon to what is sure to be some interest in Gutenberg.
You're right. There could be a whole Gutenberg renaissance, if I'm not.
There could be, and I want to be there.
Yeah.
So I actually suggested that idea, the playbill, to my publicist at the publishers, and she said, no, it's a bad idea.
Oh, no, people will want to read your book after seeing the... I know when I see Oppenheimer on Friday, I'm going to want to read the book.
Well, yeah.
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 It sells books. Mr.
Book of Mormon, you want to read the Book of Mormon.
I read it backwards and forwards. I got it on the original gold plates.
Stacey's dying.
Stacey's dying. We're trying to make Stacey crazy, and I think it's working. Ant Pruitt, you'll find him at antpruitt.com. You'll find his prints at antpruitt.com/prints.
New prints up there. New prints up there.
And @and_Pruitt on the Mastodon. He's also very active in our Twit social Mastodon and our Twit community, twit.social and twit.community. You're invited to join. It costs nothing.
That's right.
You don't have to be a club member, and it's a great place to discuss this show after the fact.
Can I give one more plug?
Yeah.
Be sure to check out this episode of Floss Weekly this week. We talked a lot about AI today on the show and some of the legal ramifications. And Mr. Searles and Ms. Druckmann had a lawyer on today.
A chill pirate lawyer.
Talking about a lot of the same stuff today, but with, more detail than we
legal,
can
with
give.
legal experience. Somebody who actually knows what he's talking
Really,
about. That's what
it
you're
was
saying.
really good stuff.
Oh, nice.
Man. So twit.tv/floss.
Ant produces that show, does a great job too. And of course, he's our community manager in Club Twit. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We do This Week in Google Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. If you are around at that time, watch us live at live.twit.tv. But, of course, after the fact, you can always get a copy of the show at twit.tv/twig. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to This Week in Google, and the best way to get it is to find a podcast application, a podcatcher, we call them, and subscribe to This Week in Google. That way you'll get it, audio or video or both, automatically the minute it's available. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Give us a little bobble finger. Bye-bye.
Hey there, Scott Wilkinson here. In case you hadn't heard, Home Theater Geeks is back. Each week, I bring you the latest audio-video news, tips and tricks to get the most out of your AV system, product reviews, and more. You can enjoy Home Theater Geeks only if you're a member of Club Twit, which costs $7 a month. Or you can subscribe to Home Theater Geeks by itself for only $2.99 a month. I hope you'll join me for a weekly dose of home theater geekitude.